I love it when that happens. As everybody trickles back in. Sorry, folks.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Yeah, sorry. God dang. I hate it when that happens. Although I'm glad it happens. When it does happen, it happens early. Because I'm glad we only burnt 7 minutes of basically nothing green room material. But damn it. I mean, so now I have this moral decision of, do I take that footage and this footage of what we're going to record and put it together, just say it wasn't live, or take off the live. I don't know. It's a disaster, people. I apologize. Freaking OBS, I think, is the problem.
Probably. But it's fine.
I don't remember what we were talking about.
We were talking about how there are some true crime things that you...
Oh, yeah. They were talking about, like, the particulars of this. And I think, yeah, Jeff is one of those where I was just... I can get through a little bit of it, but there's so much... Gosh, how do I want to describe it without spoiling it? This footage is a roller coaster ride that really builds up the suspense, and you want... Because in a lot of these interrogation footages, you kind of want the confrontation. You want the detectives to squeeze a little bit. You want to get a little... you want to see a little squirming out of the suspect, especially when... especially with the benefit of hindsight, we know they're guilty. You want to see the detectives go like, oh yeah, well, we got this. Because again, I'll bring up another case. The shooting case, the footage that I just saw, like, they were bluffing his ass off. And that's the problem with bluffs, is like because the police were saying, hey, thanks, Tony. Just glad to be back. The police were saying that they had all of this footage and fingerprints, and they were laying these claims out to a kid who was stupid, but not a moron.
Yeah.
Like, he knew that they were bullshitting because they had already tipped their hand enough to show that so many things of what they said were bluffs. He's like, okay, this is bullshit. But since he was a cocky little idiot, he talked himself into like a life sentence. Because in reality, legitimately, they did not have the video evidence they claimed. They did not have all this stuff because it was either still in processing or actually didn't exist. So if he just, hey, thanks, Amy, I'm glad to be back. I was happy to be fucking OBS. Maybe I'll save bandwidth and close that. So yeah, the moral of all this is there's a bunch of stuff out there where it was infuriating to watch, like on a recreational level, a personal level, because I was like, okay, I've got to find stuff that's going to be interesting and or funny to break down. And there's one that it's another hour and plus footage, but I think it's going to come up quicker on the docket than anybody else. Because number one, it takes place in my favorite county of Florida, Osceola County. But two, it also is the duo that interviewed Federico Gondola.
Oh.
They setting you up? Are they setting you up? You know that guy?
Yeah. That's funny.
Technology. Rico. Technology. You. I can explain it again. I can explain it. All right, so let's I'm gonna get rolling here. I got some sound effects to play, then we'll start the show.
Dog. Cat. Mouse. Turtle. You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. The mics were muted. You didn't hear that first, but here we are now. We are going at it. It is the Jeff Sokol interrogation footage. And maybe you don't want to call it an interrogation because it's more just like a walk down memory lane because Jeff Sokol's got his chat log there. And it's not so much a... Because an interrogation is something where, like, they've got some hints or they've got a suspect or a person of interest.
This is just like a pre-arrest interview.
Yeah, this is like, we've got Jeff, to catch predators, or to catch a predators. He wasn't even to catch a predator. The TCAP and Have a Seat with Chris Hansen and what's the new one on True Blue? It's like... Sit Down with Chris Hansen or something like that. I fucking love that new one. I realize it's getting a resounding meh from a lot of people, but I think the rawness of it is a lot more enjoyable. The swiftness of it, the lack of the talking head. I don't care. We don't have to talk about the decoy shit. It's just Chris in and out. And it's funny because dudes will still talk even though police are in the room. Like before when Chris was just Chris alone, right? It was him and the chat log. They'd sit and they'd talk and you go, well, if the police were there, they'd shut up. By and large, they still talk because what are you going to do?
Else? Yeah, but right.
People have their side of their story to tell. So, like I said, let me pull Jeff in here in the little TV. There he is. They're sitting with Detective Kelly. We're going to be watching after the first 18 minutes and 25 seconds, roughly, when we get a little intro of who the characters are. This comes from Red Dot True Crime. Oh, and I'll save the recommendation for the end of the show, but I've got something you probably would like, Krista, related to true crime. Oh. So let's get going here.
Kayla says she played the turtles noise from last show to her mom and she loved it.
You are welcome. Here's the thing. Let me back out of this just to tell a quick story. Because that's from my kids' little talking book, right? Because it's got, I don't know, 2 dozen animals on there and they all have little different sounds. So it's like, but it all makes sense, right? It's mouse, dog, cat, chicken, rooster,
cow, those normal,
donkey. And so we go turtle, right? And I go, okay. I maybe told this story last week, but I'm already in my cups. But you think bonk, bonk, knock, knock, like that's the turtle. And when I was putting the sound together, it was actually the alpha build of it had the who scream. But it had
funny.
this. But that'd be funny. And I thought, well, I've got the turtle song.
Why not?
Let's do that. Enough of me yakking out. Let's talk about Sokol. So also, if you saw the poll on YouTube between sassy and serious Sokol, it was 100% sass.
Yeah.
And you guys must have seen this because he is definitely more sassy than he is serious. I'm going to keep a running tally of sassy to serious. I would like you to, too, if you are capable or if you want to, because he's going to highlight a couple of things about humanity that I think everybody needs to sort of hone in on. Is we all have these weird facets of our life. They're probably not as twisted as Jeff Sokol's here. Or AKA Sonny Porter, possibly. But the problem is the hypocrisy. In day-to-day life, you're able to do things that you tell people you don't do because you're never faced with, or seldom faced with, the people you tell the things you don't do the thing to and the thing you actually do in front of people.
Yes.
So you never have to own up to your hypocrisy. Like if you're like Jeff Sokol here and you're talking to a 14-year-old, nobody in your real life is going to know that because you're not going to flip your phone around to somebody when you're at a fucking Hooters or a Fuddruckers and be like, check out this 14-year-old. I'm Jeff Sokol. This is what I do. It doesn't happen. So this is what happens when an ego is forced to try and make two opposites meld. because you want to keep saying to yourself and everybody else, I'm not that guy, when they've got evidence to the contrary. And P.S., you also know you're that guy. Here we go.
If you, what was your name again?
It's Detective Kelly.
It's Detective Kelly.
If you read all the text, I don't know if you read all of
I
it.
did not, and I probably can't digest them all right now.
Sure.
I'm starting to try to look here.
I'm sure. But
There's
if
a decent amount
read
here,
a
Jeff.
lot of it,
A lot.
The exchanges between me and her, I was always
Whoa, you're kind of right, Amy Ramirez. Jimmy Kimmel's evil twin?
Yeah.
Like he got microwaves a little bit.
and scared of any consequences if I was to do something wrong. Like if I was to have sex with her, I would.
Okay, so just in case you're not aware, because some of this might come out of the blue and hit you like a ton of bricks. One of the things that Sokol here wanted to do and or propose was the idea of a marriage contract, because it's not so much that he's grossed out or ethically or morally challenged by the idea of a sexual encounter with someone younger than an appropriate age. It's that it's illegal. So if there's a way to make it legal, then there's literally no problem with it. And I realize, concepts of good and evil are moot because they're all on the same spectrum. However, if you're going to play the game of humanity and society, you've got to play by those rules. So, like the marriage license for a 14-year-old, a legal loophole, yes, but it's like, okay, I'll liken it to this. You know how like religious people won't swear? They'll say like BS, or they'll flip people off with their ring finger instead.
Darn. Yeah.
And I'll go, okay, so you think God is in the gray area? Like the intent is like, fuck you, but you say, shut the front door. You think God is like, oh man, I was about to damn you to hell. But you're clever with linguistics, guy. And he sticks his head down from the clouds and like rubs your head. I don't know. I don't think so. But it seems like the intent is what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
And to be honest, yeah, of course, like, from what I saw, she's, beautiful and everything, but I was not going to risk.
Why were you talking to her,
risk anything
Jeff?
by having sex with her. I just wanted to meet her and hang out with her, and I was going to go home.
Another misconception of like your dumb predator is like, I wasn't. By the time 14 charges can be racked up, because you can a single crime can rack up a dozen charges.
Yeah.
Just by having a single conversation online, you've racked up half a dozen to 24 charges. And by that time, you're sitting in front of Detective Kelly here being like, well, I wasn't going to stick my penis anywhere. And by then it's like moot, right? Like if you come into a bank wearing a ski mask and then you fire a couple rounds into the ceiling and then go, psych, I don't want your money. Like it's too late to be like, ha ha ha.
You're gonna meet her, hang out
I
with her.
can't trust anybody, and obviously now,
What?
even more.
Okay.
Perpetual victim.
How do you
Yeah.
think,
So
how do you
cool.
think we and she feel?
Well, see, I get it. I get it. You guys.
We're trying to protect the innocent and the vulnerable, right?
Yeah,
It is
but-
almost
Just like
11
when you were
o'clock at
that
night.
age and I was that age, you
at
wouldn't
this
want
time,
some
like when
guy,
he was-
Yeah, it was late.
attacking you.
Brought that pizza all the way from Boston. He drove from Boston to Connecticut, Fairfield.
Oh, this was Fairfield?
Yeah.
I don't ever remember where anything.
Yeah, this guy, and here's another
That's
thing
far.
yeah. Speaking of, I'm bummed because number one, yeah, it is far. But number two, since he's from Boston, I wanted him to have a Boston accent.
Yeah.
But he's just a mook with no regional dialect.
He could be from Connecticut and just lives in Boston.
Well, whatever. I hate him. He's
with
a
that
douche.
non-accent.
Or maybe
It's
just
about
have
90
bad
minutes from Boston to
intentions.
Fairfield.
When you were 12 or 14 years old, if there was some
Cold
guy
pizza.
in your life or appeared in your life who was in his 40s and is talking about having sex with you and different things,
Huh.
isn't it your parents and the police and the school system's job to kind of protect you from that person? And sometimes if you're not
Got a
being
point.
like totally honest with your parents or community people, we're the only alternative sometimes we have is to do like sting type operations like this.
This always brings up something in my mind that I'm sure everybody has a hard stance on one way or the other, because you say nature versus nurture is what it all boils down to. From Middle North, yes. Yeah, Sokol's a Middle North resident. She's from Dong Hunters.
Migrated. Oh, Joe says this fucker had to get on the pike and pay a toll. You know he was serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking toll road, man.
We'll get into it. He was very fucking serious.
Goddamn turnpike.
Shit, I forgot what I was going to say, but let's keep going.
It would never catch anybody. 'Cause you're not
Oh,
gonna-
yeah. Like nature versus nurture, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking about this morning because I was, mulling over this footage in my head, trying to think of something clever to say. And I go, well, what is there about this? And I think, well, okay, let's say, for example, Jeff here, let's play he's devil's advocate. And he's actually the perpetual victim that he claims to be throughout this entire footage. And the foot of it, the blame lay at the foot of his parents, let's say. So we go, because I've been in that situation too. You go, the school shooters, anybody who kills someone, you go, where did they come from? And let's punish them too. But then that thought experiment led me to a dangerous situation. It's like, where does it stop? If the parents go, well, our parents, and their parents go, our parents.
It was just the times.
Right, and that's the thing. Like somebody has to take accountability. So it has to stop at you. The ownership of self has to stop. Once, I think as a society, we've all pretty much rallied around this arbitrary age of 18 where you can stop pointing backwards. But there's merit to it, though. You didn't pop out of nothing. You weren't raised in a vacuum. You grew out of this earth like an apple on a tree. And if it was a bad tree, your chances aren't great. But then you can point to the same situation or worse where they go, oh, well, they grew up to be another Mozart. Well, you go, well, fuck me, I guess, knock my dick in the dirt.
Tell anybody. You're so
Joseph, do they say what kind of pizza it was? Because I don't know if it'd be better if it were good North End pizza or just shitty.
It's from Pizza
Pappuccinos.
Planet. So another tidbit about Jeff Sokol here is like there are a zillion. I think it probably is a pizza place in Connecticut because he showed up and the pizza was fucking hot and ready. But Pizza Planet, probably in Connecticut, has a zillion 5-star reviews. And there is a punish them. Why would you punish Pizza Planet? They did nothing but
Planet Pizza,
sorry. They did nothing but give him a large pizza that was basically the size of a small.
Right,
And I'm sure in here there's probably conversations with
and
I wonder if
girl
anybody ate it.
about you didn't tell
After
anybody.
We'll get
about
to a
this,
part
right?
where I have
Something
I have
like
conspiracy
that.
theory.
Because you're afraid of the and you didn't go when the parents were home. If it's wonderful, then yeah. If your parents are home, that's great. I'd love to meet them. No, your parents aren't home, right? Kind of thing. They're away. They're not coming home. Whatever. You with me?
yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Hello, are you with
And
me?
I think this probably goes back a long time. This did not happen overnight. I'm a little bit older than you. You know, whatever my, makeup is physiologically.
He says that. He says, I'm a little bit older than you. And it does feel like, not necessarily an older brother because they don't look alike, but it feels like an older cousin.
Like a 5-year gap?
Yeah, like coming between 5 and 7 years, like coming down, like, because he comes across as not, again, he's not aggressive. He's not angry. It's more of a warm sort of sternness that the detective, and God bless him for it. Because if I were sitting in front of Sokol here and he were handing me the shit on a shingle that he's handing the detective here with the fucking amount of sass, and keep in mind, this was filmed on a potato, even though it's 2015. They could have had 1080p in this shit. But like, that even though you can't see it distinctly, he's rolling his eyes. He's making all kinds of disgusting, sassy little facial gestures. And it's just a fucking nightmare.
How old is he?
Emotionally,
He's 43, I
every other
think,
way.
in this footage.
Didn't start last week.
Flat pizza theory. Round pizza
He probably
theory.
had
You be the
these
judge.
Fantasies, desires, interests, probably your whole life, actually. Or until you became an adolescent or something.
Fantasies about what? What do you mean?
I'm assuming younger women.
Fantasies about what? You fucking sassy bitch. I realize that, whatever, we're 3 minutes into this footage, but keep in mind, he's been sitting here in front of Detective Kelly for 20 minutes hot on the tail of talking to Chris Hansen while eating pizza. And then a whole crew of people coming out to be like, what the fuck? Like, there could not be anything but, 44. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I thought 43. But there could not be more context involved. And still these idiots will go, well, what do you mean? Like, in what way? Like, if I were to open up a fruit stand in Tunisia, is that what you're talking about?
Fantasies like
Maybe as you got
that.
older, like you wanted to stay in that realm, like the younger girls, I like them better for whatever reason. You would have to tell me what the attraction is.
It's never happened before. Never.
But we're talking like
Bullshit,
12
right?
years old.
Irritable
It's like
bastard syndrome.
6th, 7th grade.
Are you seeing chat that I can't?
You know what I mean? It's a young human being.
Patrick Crowley says Jeff has
But,
irritable
I mean,
bastard
use
syndrome.
your
Huh,
terms at
yeah,
14.
totally.
I mean, I know that they're both young.
Click
but
on all
a little
messages
bit,
instead of
yeah,
top.
different.
It's just an
Is it being
OBS.
a teenager, is that the big hump that you need to hear? Like, okay, she's a teenager. She's 13, she's not 12. She's 14, she's not 12.
Listen to this.
It's 2 years older.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Jeff.
still.
And that's the thing. Detective Kelly, up until now, and he won't stop, he will continue to refer to the decoy as 12. The fake age was 14. But since, and I whatever, this is the only thing you could probably consider vindictive on the part of the detective. And I'm totally fine with it. I give him latitude to keep saying 12 instead of 14 because he's such a little, like, okay, again, 44, 14, a 30-year age gap. This man existed on this planet outside of a womb for 30 years before this person, hypothetical person, existed.
Yeah.
It's so weird when I see someone who was born in the 90s. I can't imagine someone being born in like the 2000s and being like Jeff Sokol or being like, oh, really? Like, did you like puddle of mud? And they're like, what?
Yeah. So Joe says, here's a question. What do you think the farthest someone has traveled to potentially?
Okay, JD is right. There was a man who walked, I think, nearly 400 miles. He's all over YouTube, and he probably also took a bus, but whatever. He was a you can find him on not Facebook. Yeah, follow him on Facebook. No, he's on YouTube. There's videos of him out there. I can't pull his name right now, but he's got this like really crazy voice. He's like, and they're like, man, you walked 380 something miles to come see a 13-year-old. He's like, come on, man. He's like, he's mentally impaired and he's got a speech impediment on top of that. And it's not a great situation, but yeah, it's insane. But, with cyber stalking, people go all over the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Almost as big as a 14-year-old. Oh, but 2 years is, but Jeff's right. It's a bit.
I mean,
different.
one's middle school and one's high school.
Yeah, we're 30 years apart, not 32, detective. That'd be disgusting.
Closer to getting their license.
Maturity, right?
2 years to driving,
Certainly
bitch.
Not, worldly or mature enough to consent to anything. Right? Doesn't have the legal right to do it, never mind. Because why? Because they're very young, so they need to be protected.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Why, if you thought I came down there to have sex, why didn't you wait and see if that happened?
So, stupidest fucking question ever, right? And you go, well, so, what, Jeff? And thank God, Detective Kelly is not an idiot because he handles it like a pro.
Why would I want to put that girl that was in the house through any kind of a horrible experience that can get really out of hand really quickly?
Okay, I get
And
you.
no offense.
I got you, but
There was like
I don't mean having
several
sex.
cops there and other able-bodied guys.
Right.
You'd be in probably some kind of pain at the end of it because if you got maybe your clothes up and you're trying to grab her, we come in not knowing what you're capable of.
I know.
Why not do it like as much?
So he asks a stupid question. He says, well, why didn't you let me try and, at least slip a digit in? And they go, well, then we'd have to beat the fuck out of you, right? Because you'd be in the middle of a violent assault, essentially. And Jeff goes, yeah, I know.
So you want to get?
Jeff, what are we doing here? Why did you ask that question?
As much as we can as a gentleman.
Why didn't you
You're
let
seated.
me?
Chris Hansen speaks to you. You're free to go. You
You have a
Into
couple
our
slices of fucking pizza.
Didn't throw you on the ground or anything. We handcuffed you. We brought you in. You know, I mean, why would you want to take it to another level where it's horrible? And she has to go through that, several times because there's several different guys like yourself that are coming to meet her?
I realize there's a sliding scale and you can take this to any absurd level you want. Like if, attempted murder, like if the attempted murderer were like, well, why wouldn't you just wait to see if I did it? Huh? Like, what? Like if that is a defense worthy of a Dahlia Dippolito, right? If she hadn't stuck with like, I thought what you thought, and it was a script, and there was a fucking reality TV show in the works. Like, if that hadn't occurred to her, she should have just been like, oh, you should have just let me do it, because then I never would have done it, and then there wouldn't have been a crime at all, officer. Thank you, and I'll be walking myself out to my Mercedes Benz. Fucking idiot.
I got you, buddy.
What you want to do
Yeah, I got you.
with anybody? Like, honestly.
No, it's
Put her, even the hug. As soon as you got there, you're trying to hug a girl you've never met.
Seriously.
that's natural.
You know. Well, maybe.
That's
natural.
Yeah.
When you meet someone online, you drive 90 minutes from Boston to Fairfield, you get a pizza that's, from what I can tell, just as big as small, but for the same price.
It is. I mean, I understand from your standpoint you probably want to, but from her standpoint you're a total stranger, and she's probably a little freaked out by it. You know what I
She
mean?
was
So,
cool with everything. I just wanted to hang out. And,
She was cool with everything,
have
trust me.
pizza. I mean, I honestly.
Look at the chat. The chat says it all.
That's why I was there. I just.
Here's the, okay, so usually, we talk about interactions between detectives and suspects. There will be, body language to point out interesting shit about. Jeff is going to be this casual, laissez-faire piece of shit because he doesn't think he's done anything wrong, which is a lot of these guys think is like, if they didn't actually like pull a mask down over their head and assault someone in like a dark alley behind a bush or some garbage cans, they're like totally cool.
Well, yeah, to them, nothing happened. They talked on the internet. It's just the internet. And then they went, met a person and didn't even get to do anything.
This is a solid 9 or 10 years, because the last time we did Ken was in 2006. So let's just say 10 years. This is a 10-year gap from like that early age of the internet of like, yeah, it's all just pretend. Like by 2015, most real individuals who use the internet on a daily basis realize there's an overlap into, because like, where does the internet exist? It exists in real life. It's just a place that you can scream at people anonymously.
Right.
But by 2015, I mean, I don't know. DNA was slow to make its way into the public lexicon and even to the criminal lexicon. So maybe it's just like, well, since it was all just letters and text and whatever, and that's the thing. It's in Jeff's case, it is kind of a crime hypothetically, but it's happening in real life. It's just, I can see where Jeff's coming from his stuck up, spoiled, sassy little point of view, where he goes, sure, I'm sure in his mind, he's thinking like, if it were a real 14-year-old, I would feel terrible. But since it wasn't, I can kind of backpedal all this shit into being like, well, it wasn't a 14-year-old. But even if it was, like, look how cool I am, officer. Like, just, I'm cool. He wants to be the fucking coolest dude. And it sucks because he has a shirt that I would like to wear.
JD says, not to mention on the latter stings, these guys had to go to specific platforms that cater to kids.
Right, which was a mind blower for me. Like, that is a cultural shock because early TCAP, it's the familiar Yahoo and AOL chat rooms where, like, latter days, it's Kik and Snapchat and Whisper and all these weird esoteric places. So Yeah, it does add another layer of sinister to it, right? Because like when you're just offered a bunch of Yahoo chat rooms and they all offer sex because we're all humans and we're all going to be horned up on the internet, that's one thing. But to like seek out specific apps that cater to a very young, like there are so many predators on TikTok. It is.
Oh, I'm
fucking-
sure. Do I seem like a dirty, dishonest person?
No, he seems like a conscious type person, right? Like Jeff Sokol is definitely a conscious type person.
My case, okay, for this is obviously there's a lot of text there.
Obviously.
But I was trying to do things or
Sex.
make it so
Hey, yeah, Jeff Stacy does say
I
that.
wasn't breaking the law.
Yeah.
Okay, you hear
I
that?
decided
Huh.
at some point that I wanted to, have any relations with her. I was
If I wanted to have any relations with her, I wanted to make it so it wasn't against the law, right? So that's the kind of person we're dealing with. Is like, I realize that right or wrong are murky concepts, but you should, like, as a person with divorced from what the law or other people says, there are things deep down at your core that you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Because, we're all humans with empathy. And unless you're a complete, whatever label you want to throw on it, unless you cannot relate to other humans and they're just disposable commodities to you, at some point you should be like, oh my God, this is a problem. But if your angle is like, there's nothing ethical, nothing morally reprehensible, like all of that passes the sniff test. It's just that dang legal issue. And you go, okay, that's the hurdle we got to get over. So if I can print you up a fuck contract, would you do things? Would you please sign it? And this is the worst type of person, I think. On either side of the law, if you're a criminal or a law-abiding citizen, there's a person I am related to that isn't interested in whether a law is just or equitable or anything like that. It's just a yes or no. So law is yes or no. And it's the same kind of shitty, annoying person, because when you're dealing with humans, every circumstance has its extenuating factors.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Jeff here. It's not like a gray area, right? Because you go, oh my God, like with Ken. Not to bring him up again, but he's a classic character. He's a 3 because you go, oh come on, Ken. Really?
You know better.
Jeff is like an 11. There's no gray. He's like all black or all white. Whatever you think the polar extreme that you want to put him on is, he is there. But he's trying to play in the middle with this sassy bullshit. We're like, hey, well, what if if it were legal, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But then by then, yeah, too late, Jeff.
Right. Yeah.
trying to make sure that
He's full of pizza right now.
legal.
It's got at least one
Otherwise,
slice
I
in
wasn't
it.
gonna do anything.
I'll explain that a little bit.
Yeah, Jeff.
If I, came down and I liked her, she liked me, and
Right.
she was cool, and I didn't feel like she was, too immature or too young or too,
She's 14. She's too young, Jeff.
30-year age gap.
Same, level as her, like, emotionally and whatnot. I mean, I wanted to,
She's 14, Jeff.
I remember, maybe you have similar circumstances, but like most people, I dabbled in babysitting once you become of age and you're too young to get a real job, but you're old enough to want fucking money.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I was watching a couple of kids, and I was 16, 15, something like that. And the youngest kid, who the primary goal of the job was like 7 or 8, but they had like an 11 or 12-year-old sister. Mm-hmm. And she probably could have handled herself, but I was there for mostly the little brother. And I thought, this is a fucking annoying child.
Yeah.
It was a 4 or 5 year age difference between us, and I wanted nothing to do with that person. And I was still an immature,
Teenage.
nothing. I was a less than a pimple. I hadn't even hit acne age yet. And because that would be when it would be acceptable, right? When you're so young, you're both under the age of consent. It'd be weird, sure, but you could be like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But even then, I was like, I'm so mature-wise above this that just having to interact on a social level with anyone like that puts me off of any other type of interaction.
Yeah.
Jeff here wants to be like, yeah, I'll drop a bone in a 14-year-old, but to interact with them, like all their opinions, whatever warped political or social views they have at such a young age.
Like,
and
what do you talk about? Like, what
trying
would
to
you learn in
navigate that.
school?
No, yeah, it's all definitely like open-ended questions and then talking about the biomechanics of sex, because what else are you going to talk about? Like, is Jeff going to, what was popping for a 14-year-old in 2015?
Fuck if I know.
Exactly. and you think Jeff is going to go out of his way to be like, hey, yeah, I am a big fan of whatever the fuck 14. No. So that's the thing.
Like, it wasn't K-pop starting then out here, probably.
Yeah, it's not like, she's 10 years younger and, got me into 90s alternative rap because I was into 80s grunge or whatever. And you go, okay, there's something.
Hey, C&J Dev.
What's up, C&J Dev?
JD says 30 fucking year gap. What on earth could you have in common other than maybe breathing oxygen?
Damn it! Like, there's nothing. Like, when I was that young and because you grow up and you got parents and they have friends, and I would look up to people like that and I would go, it was not like talking to an alien. It was just talking to someone who was so far beyond my realm of existence. There was nothing to interact with them on unless they took the extra effort to be like, what is it like to be a kid?
Yeah.
I can't imagine throwing a sexual dynamic into any of that. Like either giving or receiving, putting myself in my young age and having someone come at me sexually, or even entertaining the idea of like anyone underage now. I go like, what the fuck?
No, yeah.
Like, on top of gross, like, it's alienating. It is such a cultural disconnect that, like, it would be almost like having sex with a piece of fruit. You have that much in common. Like, Jeff Sokol and a watermelon have as much a connection as Jeff Sokol and this imaginary 14-year-old.
Conscious type person gives Jeff credit for the pearl snaps.
The pearl snaps?
I researched that stuff.
I'm saying, man, there's a lot about Jeff that I would like to co-op if you weren't Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, never. I mean, that's like.
That's why it's illegal.
That's why it's illegal. Officer, you don't understand. I have standards. I'm not going to bang any 14-year-old. Just this one.
You're interpreting.
I don't know.
You're interpreting it, but I mean.
Well,
it's not-
maybe we are. I don't know, but I also see that you're mentioning that a 44-year-old guy shouldn't be talking to a 13-year-old girl like this.
Right, and so.
That's
Right. I told her I shouldn't be talking to her because I was super old, the 30-year age gap. And
But I mean, this contract would like null all of that.
don't grapefruit yourself now. Hey, is that a King Cobra JFS reference?
Ah,
Your language, not mine.
I felt guilty about it, yeah.
And you think you might be on the same wavelength as her?
There's plenty of, young people I see on TV that are pretty smart.
What an answer to that question. Again, just to the question posed. Do you think you'd be on the same wavelength as her? Meaning, do you think you'd have enough in common with a 14-year-old, you at 44, to carry on any meaningful conversation? And his answer is, well, I see a lot of smart young people on the TV.
on the YouTubes.
It wasn't? Damn.
You mentioned having sex with fruit before.
I know, but the grapefruit, I thought maybe you knew of the King Cobra JFS where he had sex with the grapefruit. Lol cows, am I right?
Sure.
There's a video that I think went viral on the grapefruit method. Oh.
Like a warm
Apple pie. Oh, God.
What? Like that? The shock of like having sex with a pie, I'm sure is to every other generation. They didn't grow up with American Pie, the movie series, like a thing. But now that's like, I don't know. I'm sure, like, if you didn't know the context, it'd be like, oh, like, or the flute reference of the band camp. But like, those are almost quaint now to me. Like, at my age, like, oh, it's having sex with an apple pie. It's like, oh, that's adorable. Didn't know Combs. You didn't know Combs had sex with a grapefruit? You gotta look up that.
Look that up. Yeah, make sure.
Look up that Trout documentary.
They're out there, yeah.
It's a good one.
I don't know. There could be a couple out there. I think either they could be mature, but maybe they look like a little kid, or they could look older, but they're very immature.
Okay, I'll share with you a story that was one of those things where it was a meeting of worlds that I was not ready for. So I was young, way too young. But it was before puberty, and I was at active at my church at the time. I was a Lutheran, and they were always having youth-oriented stuff, and for whatever reason, I don't know why I never saw this girl before. Maybe he just bloomed really fast, but we were putting together like the haunted house in the second story of our youth building. And there was this, she had the hugest cans I had ever seen in my life up until that point. I was 11. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, because this was before puberty, so I was compelled toward them, but I knew not why. I was constantly looking at them, filling that sweater. And I thought, why? Little did I know.
There's a reason these laws are in place.
I rewatch American Pie now. I can't figure out why I liked it in high school. It's not funny at all.
There's some stuff that's only, I said this about Adam Sandler. There's some stuff that's only funny when you're in a certain period of life.
Mm-hmm.
This just
Right,
happens.
I said that to her.
Meaning what? I'm still, you kind of expounded on it before, but you're like, oh, I want to do things with her, so in case I did have feelings for her and I liked her, like it would be legal. I don't know what that means. She's still, let's just say 13, because you mentioned 13 right here. So how does that still make it legal?
Look at that fucking sass up to 11 on this bitch. Like if Detective Kelly were wearing one of those Dragon Ball Z eye things, his fucking sass would be over 9,000 and it would blow off of his face. Because like this is serious. Like I realize that we're in a day and age where the accusations of this nature rather are thrown around a lot, especially if you're in the lolcow community like I am. Like dropping the P word on someone or calling someone a predator like is just run of the mill, and it feels like what the word Nazi did a while ago, like where everybody's a Nazi, and like if you use that stuff, it loses its power because it's overused. When like real problems like this arise, when like Jeff does seem like a realistic, I don't even know how to put it, but yeah, like he's a genuine problem when like it's not like someone has an aggressive belief or likes them a little young and they're a Nazi or a pedophile. Like he's a genuine problem.
Right. It's
not like, oh, that's hilarious. Like Detective Kelly is like not saying this lightly. He's like, you have a legitimate problem, and let's talk about that. And Jeff is just turning the sass up to 11 to be like, nope, I don't think so, bro. And so yeah, JD, fucking insufferable to 11.
Yeah.
Masshole.
The masshole.
Right? Masshole reports. Masshole mafia.
How does it make what legal?
You just said that. How would it make it okay?
Potential. Alleged.
And she's 13.
Allegedly.
If you ultimately had relations with her, intercourse, how does it make it legal?
It wouldn't unless
Potential. Yeah.
to marriage. It's the only way it would be legal.
So you're gonna marry a 13-year-old girl with her mother's permission?
Maybe when she's 16, I would do that. Why is that like so hard to believe?
Yeah, why is that so hard to believe, Detective?
Why is it hard to believe?
Yeah, that could happen.
I can't say I've even never heard of it.
social. If I wanted to like,
Maybe in other countries it happens.
wanted to not break the law, that's what I would have to do.
You would marry her now,
I
you're
haven't broken the law.
44, she's 13.
I hate him
broken the
so
law.
much.
Right?
I mean, that's the thing. It's all like you're speculating what I was going to do.
I want to kick him in the balls.
He uses words like speculate or imply, or he's using all this stuff, and it's not speculation is like, because that's the thing, language is tough, and so I want to sort of draw this out a little bit. Speculation is like you see a behavior, you notice a pattern, you pick up some clues here or there, and you go, okay, I'm speculating that this is the case. This isn't speculation.
No, he's just using buzzwords that he saw on the internet.
Right. He's like, you're implying, you're insinuating that I would do this. When you read a book that's like a manifesto saying, hey, my name is Jeff Sokol and I'm going to do this. And then you point to it and you go, well, you're just insinuating. It's an insinuation. It's an implication. It's a this or a that. That's all well and good if you don't have 10 fucking miles of evidence. Welcome, Insanity Pepper.
Hey, I want to throw pizza at his head.
Seriously.
He might eat it, though. I don't know.
This guy, you want to, like, a pizza that comes hot out of the oven is flung at his face so it hits his face like napalm.
Conscious type person says if the marriage contract doesn't work, maybe he could ask Dustin McFedridge about drafting a contract to buy her from her mom.
Yeah, but he'll need her social, because if they ever lose contact, the only way to find someone is with their social security number. Mm-hmm. And then you'll have a baggie of their pubes, potentially.
Based on conversations.
You also drove here. You didn't just like have chats, which were bad enough.
So what?
You actually drove 2 hours. You're like basically my age. You drove 2 hours.
That's why we're all here.
Most guys.
Yeah, you're putting it all together, right? Most guys, boys.
Most guys younger than us, our age, older than us, if given the opportunity,
Right.
they might get in the car on a Saturday night and drive 2 hours if they think they're going to find
Love.
Something that feels good at the end of the rainbow. But are they just going to do it to maybe meet somebody?
Most guys? So you're saying most guys, so it's like...
You're driving from Boston.
Real quick.
Boston.
Okay, so the sass that Jeff is about to unleash is of an epic proportion. Because when we've all seen that cliched hackneyed stereotype of like the lady talking to the man and the lady goes, all men are this. The man goes, all men are this. That's sexist. And you'd expect that back and forth from the opposite genders. Now, imagine being like, well, you're just saying all men are sexist to another man who's not saying that.
You're saying most guys.
Boston.
That's not me.
What are you?
Freaking pocket Harvard Yard. Get yourself a lobster. Lobster, that's how they say it.
Tell me who you are. Because based on the text and the behavior you exhibited, I'd say you fit right in there. You just happen to...
Really? For the last 2 days? I run through, there's so many. This used to be in heavy rotation for me because I had to keep watching it so that I would not be angry when I watched it for you guys. I had to watch it so many times that I go, okay, at the end of the rainbow, like Detective said, you want something that feels good. And yeah, at the end, like, we all know how Jeff's, shaked out. Sonny, if you want to call him. Mr. Porter.
Free Mr. Porter.
Mr. Porter, I call him.
Free 63 says Jeff Sokol, Jacinda Cheems, and Jay Refner, all the most arrogant predators, seem to have names that start with a J.
Yeah. That's the thing. You could turn all the TCAP or Chris Hansen related material into so many beautiful, colorful charts, and pull any theme or correlation or any of that together. And there's enough of it that you could paint a room with just like people with horrifying crimes who like with the J thing here, or like dudes who want to put it in the butt raw and qualities that they contain versus the dudes who just want to take pictures and stuff, or like, want to bring over their copy of Hand Jobs.
Jim Rouch, too.
Yeah,
right.
Jim Rouch. Oh.
Jeff Stacy wasn't arrogant, though. Lol.
He was too stupid to be arrogant. Like, it's one thing because if you're stupid and don't know you're in trouble, you can't be arrogant. Jeff was stupid. He didn't know he was in trouble, so no arrogance. It's kind of like virtue. Real virtue does not know itself as virtue. So when Jeff Sokol shows up, he knows he didn't do it, bitch. And there's where the righteous bullshit comes in. If you're too stupid to know you're in trouble, boom. If you're too smart to think you're in trouble, that's where we are. Jeremy Todd West. What? Oh, yeah, Jeremy Todd West. I was thinking of Todd West, who goes, I'd like a lawyer, please.
Yeah, I wish.
Younger than what's
I don't know why he intrigues me so much.
Without leaving super. Yeah, there's so many good. It's impossible to get through them all.
Talking about it. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
With a 12 or 13-year-old girl.
12, Jeff.
That's a problem.
It's a
I don't know
major
you. I never
league
saw you
problem.
before in my life. That's a major league problem.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like what?
Fucking Charlie Sheen's in Hot Shots. Major league, bitch.
Compared to what? Like a 28-year-old woman, like a 22-year-old girl. You're talking about a 12 or
17.
13-year-old girl, and she's what, acting like she's 18? Yeah, so what? She still tells you she's 13 years old.
They need more than one syllable, I think.
44.
Yeah.
Okay, here's why someone this smug doesn't immediately lawyer up. Because the smugness comes from the position of, I am not in trouble, bitch. No matter how you get there, it's the same kettle of fish. If you're too stupid to know you're in trouble, you're not going to ask for a lawyer. If you're too arrogant to know you're in trouble, you're not going to ask for a lawyer. Same thing with the kid who shot the dude in the car that I mentioned earlier. You can get trapped by your own arrogance, because that's one thing that the detectives have in their favor is if they're stupid, it oftentimes just makes the suspect talk more. Like if they tip their hand and they know they're bluffing or they know that everything here is a lie, sure, if you're a smart criminal, you can go like, oh, great, I'm clean, and shut the fuck up. But if you're not, like Jeff or the dude I'm talking about, you'll talk yourself into a grave because you go, well, I'll admit to all this, but I didn't do that. And that's the foot in the door. It's like, well, was it an accident? Did you slip and fall onto the internet chat room and accidentally sex a child?
Oh, no.
Was it what's the intent? Like, there's this big difference between like manslaughter, sexual abuse, and no, there isn't.
I mean, seriously,
Sokol
that's
in
a
his
major
medium
league
American
problem.
Fighter shirt from Buffalo.
Seriously.
He probably could use a large.
You know, if this were like 2018, he would be wearing Ed Hardy, and the back of his shirt would be like a bedazzled pair of angel
Wings. Oh, yeah.
according to the law.
What a douche.
But according to what you, it's not.
In my head.
In your head.
Vouch for that as well.
What I was there for. Knowing that I was not dangerous, that I was not a threat to her, that I was not planning on having sex.
Not planning on having sex. What if you just happen to meet a girl that is like, you know what, for whatever
Slide
reason,
in my
she's
chair a
only
little
12
bit.
or 13, but man, she is she's all over you. What are you gonna do? Push her away?
Yeah, if I know I can go to jail, I would.
You would.
If I know I can go to jail. So if he knows he can go to jail, he'd push her away.
If that contract isn't signed before she comes on to me, I'm pushing her away.
But you had to talk to her for several days, drive 90 minutes, pick up a small pizza or a large pizza that was the size of a small.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are so many things. Like, if the only point of this equation that mattered to law enforcement was like when she was coming at you, you gave her a big old facepalm and pushed her back onto the couch. And like all the detectives like bust out of their hiding spots. And they're all wearing party hats and they shoot a bunch of confetti poppers in the air and they go, hey, good job. You didn't assault a child. Then yeah, that'd be a cool system and a world to live in. But you had a bunch of sexually explicit conversation with a child that already crossed that line, right?
Yeah.
It's like Jeff was hoping in a perfect world for him, his mind's eye of a perfect world is like, if it was a sting, she'd be like, let's get it on. He goes, I don't think so, bitch. And then he counts to 30 silently in his head, waiting for the balloons and the confetti and the shit that I just mentioned. And if that doesn't happen and the cops don't come out, then he bangs a child.
Oh, yes.
And why did you bring this
Bro,
out?
you crossed state lines maybe
No,
more
that
than
wasn't my
once.
call.
Did you really think it was a
I
real
don't care
girl?
what it was.
That's another thing. There are so many ways in which they can fuck you legally, and it's all arbitrary. If you cross an imaginary line, the FBI can get involved. Like, if you run amok in your state, you can draw the ire of all the local state enforcement you want. The FBI won't give a shit because they're the big boys. Like, you step your toe, like if I'm in Arizona, if I step over into California, New Mexico, Texas, or whatever, and be like, fuck you, bitch, or, whatever, to commit a crime over there, they can be like, oh, you know what? It's 2 states, and we don't actually want to deal with this. And then it gets fucking crazy serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And back east, because here in Arizona, like, I could drive a couple hours and feel secure in the fact that I haven't violated a federal crime. But back east, like, if you sneeze too hard and your chair rolls 45 feet in the wrong direction, you're now a federal criminal.
Right. Yeah, because
Fuck.
they're right.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
know,
2.5 hours. I was wrong, yes.
I thought it was more, but
and
still.
you're driving Massachusetts, Rhode Island, possibly, and then Connecticut,
That's
or
what
you
I'm
can go
saying.
around.
Like,
But,
if I
yeah.
were to drive 300 miles from where I live to commit a crime or do an arms deal or a murder or something, I still potentially in the state of Arizona,
Yeah, probably.
and they could be like, oh, you're the most wanted person in a state.
Yeah.
But if I lived in New Jersey, that same 3 hours could have me cross multiple states. It could be like a multi-jurisdiction manhunt, and a bunch of people in suits with American flags pinned to their lapels want to see me spirited away to Guantanamo.
in the car.
And I said, what's in here? Just I believe it said like CVS, either ibuprofen or something like that. You're like, yeah, that's all it is. And then we researched it. It's just
Right. Sorry.
It's what?
Sorry.
Like, what is it?
Cialis.
Oh.
That's another thing. So one of the things that
He's 44 years old.
he's got problems. The Detective Kelly will basically bring out a verbal equivalent of a Microsoft Bullet PowerPoint presentation of why we're here.
Uh-huh.
So I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's all here. What the hell? Something fell somewhere. Don't worry about it.
Tell me the truth.
I just
I'm
got
trying to figure it out.
handcuffed. I just got handcuffed.
Jesus.
I don't even remember answering you, to be honest with you. But
He was already on
No
the
big
floor.
deal, but it's not like you had some other medicine, like, I don't want to pick out of the top of my head, that's like completely
Seriously.
unrelated to any kind of sexual interlude. This is like
This is
right
an
up
interesting
that
point.
alley, right? It's correct?
You thought it was an IBS pill? See, no, yeah, he probably does have IBS medication, but yeah, he was bringing Cialis. Number one, number two, they were in an ibuprofen bottle. So I don't know why that is, because in my mind, I've done that. It's just a convenience thing where you have a prescription or whatever. Or you have a bottle you just put pills in. And so, yeah, it doesn't feel sinister when you do it. But when somebody else does it and they take something like a Cialis or an Oxycontin or whatever, and it goes in an over-the-counter bottle, we go, oh, my God, this has gotten serious.
Yeah, he took the IBS pill because pre-pizza you need to take something to calm your
Right.
tummy.
Because if I'm not mistaken, like, since those medications are meant to work in your heart, it takes a while. So like Viagra, Cialis, or whatever, it takes like up to an hour to work.
Yeah.
So we probably midpoint in the journey popped the Cialis, got to Planet Pizza, found the large was as much as a small, got that. While he was there, probably had like a cup of water to throw down his IBS medication, and possibly If he's got IBS, he might be lactose sensitive, so a little lactate possibly.
He just has a whole cocktail.
You know, what a sexy dude this dude. Just showing up with a pharmacy in your pocket with the ever looming threat of like diarrhea based on just stress. Cool, Jeff.
So the chat, the drive, the Cialis,
Yeah, no.
the fact that for some reason you think that this is like some innocent meeting between a mature 12-year-old and you.
I carry the Cialis around. I just do. And, you know, sometimes I leave it in my car and I just didn't want to leave it in the car.
Doesn't it belong in a prescription bottle?
No.
It doesn't?
No, that's smaller. I usually carry. I have other pills too that I put in there.
All right.
There you go. He took his IBS pills from his Cialis
Right,
pills.
so that's the thing. Like,
It's like a
if
doggy
Jeff
bag.
weren't being caught right now in this situation, and like just a friend saw him pulling an unmarked pill bottle out of his pocket, and he saw a random assortment of pills, Jeff is the right age to be like, okay, there's probably blood pressure, medication, there's a bunch of stuff that a dude his age needs. But when that dude is not a friend across from the table at Fuddruckers and it's Detective Kelly, and he gets to go, what's in there? It goes, whoa, this is no longer in the realm of suspicious. This is downright culpable.
Yeah.
You don't see a problem with any of this, like honestly.
I didn't say that.
Oh, seriously, see a problem with it.
I see a potential problem.
Do you have like
What?
nieces, nephews, whoever in your life, in your family?
A potential problem. I'm a potential predator, if you will.
I don't know their ages, but maybe some are around her age.
Maybe.
And Jeff.
That's the thing that everybody brings up too. They go, especially in these cases, they go, don't you have someone in your family that you're related to that is around this age? And like 9 times out of 10, yeah, because families have members in them and they often span ranges from 0 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. At no age did I ever, when looking for a potential sexual partner, think about family members.
Right.
So it's kind of a moot point. Yeah, of course, we all have kids we're related to, but when we're trolling the internet, especially if we're a deviant or maybe whatever, you're often not going to be thinking about the people who you are disappointing utterly and their offspring.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a potential predator. He could have been a kinetic predator, but he was caught. A kinetic predator, I think, is a good term that people should start using.
I did not think I was breaking the law to come meet a girl. I honestly didn't. If you read the whole text, read everything, you can see how
Word for word,
scared
detective.
I was to meet her.
His interactions with the decoy is full of embarrassing photos too.
Oh.
Like, nothing should make you, because we all say it to each other, like, if it makes it to the internet, it's out there forever, yada, yada, yada. And it really hits home because, like, here we are watching this man, he's a million different places on the internet. And if you take a picture, the potential for that to leak everywhere is there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily need to be life-ending, but it's always there. The potential is. And this isn't even the potential. It's not like, because, an average person can go like, oh, I took a nude selfie, or I took a picture of like my significant other naked, or maybe you shot a spicy video or whatever, and you go, oh boy, yeah. But now, to me anyway, the potential of that meeting anyone else's eyes is a real thing. Because your phone, I can almost guarantee, every once in a while takes all your media and backs it up somewhere.
The
cloud, Google or Apple, they've all got a picture. So like if you take a picture of your dick, like back in the day, you can go like, okay, I have a hard copy. So the only people who are going to see it are you, the 1 hour photo developer, and the person you handed it to, and if you spurned them, anyone they happened to show it to. But that pool was very finite.
Yeah.
Like, even if they put it on the bulletin board at your church and the whole town saw, dwarfed compared to what your genitals could reach fame-wise today.
Just listen.
It's a flat face.
But you're scared.
That's why he's a good
of her
detective.
for
He's not
basically one reason.
Round?
And the
not
reason
round,
is-
but he kind of looks like an Easter Island head. And if you want to, if you want to be a good detective, but if you're going to be a good detective, you need to have that neutral, almost sort of flat, expressionless. You need to be like a Keanu Reeves that the suspect needs to be able to project on. Because if you've got a strong personality, they're going to clash. You want to be a tabula rasa, if you will, for the suspect to project and open up to. And that's why I think Detective Kelly works so good. He's not only bland in face, but he's bland in tone and action. He'll say he's pissed off later. He never changes his voice from what you're hearing now.
That your clear intention was to have sex with her. Because if it truly was just to meet somebody, you wouldn't even be nervous about it. You'd be like, screw it. I have no interest in having sex with this girl.
It's a situation.
Just chatting. My right hand to God, and I'll swear to the parents, and they could be home for that matter. I'd love to meet them too, and my intentions are pure. Your intentions were not pure. That's why you had the reservations you had, right?
He's even giving him an out.
It was a new situation too, and never done it before. So yeah.
But you're 44 and she's
also know
12, 13.
12,
There's all these
13.
laws about
Thank God there are, right?
about minors.
Right, Jeff?
Listen, I know what.
This is a pet peeve of mine because it is insulting, or I shouldn't say insulting. I used to find it insulting that the person I was engaged in a conversation with would constantly say, listen, bitch, I'm doing nothing but that 50% of the time. And I get it. It's like in high stress situations like that, it's literally a plea. Like, listen, I'm telling you the truth. So you're saying, listen, like you don't get it. It's adding credence to what I'm saying. But the people who do that in real life, it's tiresome.
I'm capable of.
Right.
3.5, yeah. It's a lot.
And I know you think that I'm
Yeah.
bullshitting you.
No, you're trying to like kind of massage the corners, but do I think you're realizing and being honest with yourself and with me about what you did? No, I don't actually. But
Actually, I love it when like the truth could not be more clear to all parties involved. But the matter of fact way that Detective Kelly is just like, you know what? I don't think you are, actually. Like, really? The word just and the word actually can make a serious thing inadvertently hilarious.
you're talking about it, and I appreciate that, but you're not.
Bruh.
If you truly looked in the mirror and thought about what's going on or what you did tonight,
That's just because I don't feel like I did anything wrong.
There's where the arrogance comes from. See, when you think you haven't done anything wrong, like I said, arrogance. When you don't know you've done anything wrong, Stacy, isn't it weird that two Jeffs occupy both sides of this spectrum? The yin and yang of child predators are Jeffs.
well, if you want to keep it in the straight and narrow and say, well,
Like Jada Pinkett. Yeah. Oh my God. He's dead. She's dead. Yeah. Like, this is how Jeff Sokol would react at Will Smith smacking Chris Rock at the Oscars, right? Like, he's just like, oh my. Like, oh, that's not my problem, but geez. Oh, like, fucking sassy as shit.
And he puts his hands on his stomach like Roush
I mean,
does.
any uncle, any neighbor, any guy could certainly do that. Any softball coach, whatever. As long as it's kind of like, the parents know and there's nothing creepy going on. Yeah, in and of itself, is that fine? Sure. But if that softball coach or whoever it may be is
What's up,
texting
Matt Willis?
all kinds of
Hey,
things
Matt.
about having sex with the girl and her pussy and
Ah.
send me a pic and everything else, and you're only 13 and I'm 44, and then you research the statutes and you drive 2 hours on a Saturday night.
Print out a marriage contract.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, if you use, like, if the word statutes comes up and it's from your mouth in defense of what you are doing, you're guilty. Like, because it's one thing, like an idiot can say, I did not break the law, I didn't whatever. Especially if you're innocent. You can say, I didn't do this, there's no law I broke. But if you use the words like statutes, okay, here's a quick story. If you ever get caught speeding like I did when I was younger, you'll get the option to take a driving class. So they won't put points on your license. So the one time I went to that, everybody's in a pissy mood. That's beside the point. But he dropped, the instructor dropped a line, like it was mentioned in the DMV literature, reasonable and prudent to the speed limit or whatever. So he's like, reasonable and prudent. That sounds like whatever. That's just fancy talk for the speed limit or less. So he said immediately after saying that, by reading from the book given by the DMV, he said, don't ever say that to a cop. Because you'll sound like a fucking idiot. Again, like statutes. Like if a cop pulls you over and you are speeding and you know you're speeding and you say to him, well, I thought I was being reasonable and prudent to the speed limit, they will probably be like, okay, I hope you enjoyed your fucking driving class. Now that that's no longer an option for the next year, here's a ticket and some points on your license.
Right.
So don't say stupid shit that you think sounds smart. The statutes say you're a pedophile. Sorry. Pedophile, possibly.
And there's
He's
a
more
reference
than
to a marriage
pi
contract.
times.
His age plus infinity.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, if your age is pi times anything, it's a problem in relation to your victim.
You don't have, you can try to bullshit me all day long. It doesn't really matter to me. Most of the people that I talk to aren't exactly honest.
I'm sorry to keep stopping so frequently, but yeah, Detective Kelly has a 100% comfortable familiarity with people, and I love his position. He knows that he's going to get lied to, and he's not going to get angry about it. A lot of people take it personally, despite the fact it's their job not to.
Right.
And that's what's so great about Detective Kelly. He's like, hey, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Lie to me. The evidence is the evidence. This tape that's happening is probably going to be played in court. Should get that far. So I don't care.
Yeah, I get to go home after this. You probably
There
don't.
is a huge amount of power in that. If you come across in any situation as eager for or, chomping at the bit for that power, you are behind the eight ball. If you don't care, if you don't offer, if you don't engage, then the other party has to engage with you. Like, it's not a secret. It's something that's anybody can tell you. It's in the law of attraction or whatever. The person who's least invested has the most power in any situation. Bar none.
His age is way
way watered down. His age is way watered down.
But if you ever want to get well and maybe get past this point,
I'm glad somebody noticed.
Sometime in the future, or somewhere else for that matter, or in a bad place.
I agree. It's not something that
Like
I
seriously.
should be doing, and I said that.
Yeah,
I said that.
that's a problem.
I said that. I won't have sex with you unless it's legal.
About this was
Wink. And I winked at her.
What the fuck am I doing? Like, this is wrong. I shouldn't need to research a statute to see if I'm able to hang out with a 13-year-old girl
Seriously.
and talk about having sex with her. We're not talking like senior in high school or something. We're talking 6th, 7th grade, right?
It's not gonna
You're
happen.
40.
It's not gonna
Not
happen.
tonight. You just said before. You if things worked out and you ended up having relations, you wanted to know kind of like
Wouldn't
it
do
would
it.
be illegal.
Right,
I think
wouldn't-
that's what you told me.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it unless it was legal.
You wouldn't do it. So
Unless
the
it was
Cialis is
legal.
Just, we keep it just in case. And
That's it.
I'm driving 2 hours to meet a 12-year-old because I'm sure she's got a wonderful conversation and she's really interesting to chat to. You have a college degree. Where do you work?
If I was planning on having sex, I would have taken the Cialis at home and just left it there.
I don't know. For all I know, you took one already.
Exactly. Like, here's the thing. He'll bring this up, and he's right, because there's probably no drug test for a boner pill. And in these circumstances, I can see where he took one hoping to get a boner, but now this stress has kept the boner away. So he could have one in his system easily, knowing there's no test for it. He can go, check my dick, it's not hard, and voila.
Yeah.
But
I don't really know how that works.
But here's the thing, because he said it earlier and he'll say it again. He said, I didn't want to leave the Cialis at home, and I didn't want to leave it in the car. And I thought, well, that makes sense. But to me, that made sense because here in Arizona, if you leave something in the car, 80% of the year, if you come back to it, it'll be destroyed from heat.
Yeah.
So when I was watching this for the first few times, that's just like smart. Like if you're going to carry around boner pills and keep them in the car, I get why you'd want to bring them inside and get them out of the elements. But I don't think it's summer and it's not Arizona. So those pills are in no danger of losing their effect on your manhood.
Maybe he's afraid of them getting stolen.
Yeah, people are always looking to like bust into a 1998 Honda Civic to see if there's just some boner pills. Because if I were looking for something, it wouldn't be oxys. It's the street value that's the highest is for those Cialises.
Maybe you took one at home, maybe you brought another one in case it was a phenomenal night, right? Or for tomorrow if you slept over.
Only 3 years younger than Sokol. Congratulations, Sandy Pepper.
I rely on it when I had my date girls and stuff.
Amy Ramirez. Yeah, he's an old man. In 2015, I was 12 at the time. I was way, way, way younger at the time.
Jesus, 12 and 20. Were you the decoy? You're the 12-year-old that Detective Kelly is talking about. How old was I in 2015? Jesus.
So it was 12.
Okay, so 15 minus 2 is what?
You were 32.
13? Yeah, I was 32. 32 years old.
I was 27.
I knew better. Like I was chasing a 27-year-old, not a 14-year-old. 10, 3.
Yeah, it was October. October on the East Coast. It was fall.
You're a better detective than I. Because, again, there's no heat. I would say there's probably no heat on the East Coast that could kill anything inside of a car that isn't alive. I mean, like an electronic or a medication, but anything left out here, if you come back to it, it'll be a soft gray ash. As soon as you open the car door, it will be scattered to the four winds. I had just turned 32 for this thing.
Younger girl kind of adolescent pornography, either at your house or in your car or anything. Images. Computer images, phone images.
I'm gonna look at my phone now.
Opposite that bird thing.
Opposite the bird thing. No, I see it. I just it all just seemed like a random collection of useless numbers and digits to me.
Did you send her pictures?
Yeah.
My dick.
Yeah, me.
Such as you. Like what?
I don't think he ever sent nudes.
Pics? No. Naked chest? What?
His most famous and most cringy picture is when he's holding the phone out. He's wearing like a Smurf style beanie. Yeah. And he's like almost the duck face to camera. It's real cringe.
Let's see.
I was at a Japanese steakhouse.
This is a her or just you?
I was at a Chinese or Japanese steakhouse. They ask you, what's your birthday? It's common, online, to get to know you. They came looking for me. It's my birthday.
No, it's just like pictures that are on my phone. I sent a random picture today. I just like took a picture of myself with that picture.
Might have been fixed a little different. You know, every time I go in there, it feels like the recipe's a little bit different.
Yeah. It's at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, it was in the Bruins jersey. Oh, God.
Friend of yours, girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah, the Waldo hat. God damn it, you guys are so much better than me. Yeah, it was the Bruins jersey and the Waldo hat. That's what I couldn't pull. It was like an elf, Smurf. Yeah, Waldo fucking nailed it. How embarrassing.
I was trying that sent me pictures on the same site.
Just gotta look at my phone here.
Did she send you any
Conversate.
pictures of this girl?
Oh my God. So when he looking through his, so you just saw him pull it out of his pocket, right? Like Jeff's phone was in his pocket. They did not confiscate that from him. So you just saw him take it. He had to put in the passcode. And this is a fun twist on an old trope where the detectives are often consulting their phone because I'm sure they're getting texts from their supervisor outside the door or whatever. So this is that on its head. He's going to look at Jeff's phone and he's going to look through all of his shit and he's going to look at videos and there's going to be shit with sound and it's going to be a hilarious. It's going to be good.
Oh yeah, she is.
Naked,
No.
not naked.
Never asked for anything naked.
He did not ask about her downward dog. Set the phone down.
In your underwear, which is fine.
Yeah, you know, he's screaming that like Jeff Sokol in it, every fiber in his being, because God knows what's on Jeff Sokol's phone, right? And now it's unlocked and in the hands of a detective.
Yeah.
If Jesse Velez applied Lorne logic, he'd blame his phone. Oh, yeah.
Phone store getting robbed for him going over to try to have sex with a young boy. Yeah. Played by a geriatric old man.
Right. Jesse Velez, though, Jesus Christ. Like, if there was a Guinness Book of World record for most sex crimes confessed over a styrofoam container of Panda Express, he would take the gold for the rest of time.
It's not going to hurt.
Wow, what's up, Big Sammy?
Hey.
Naked John.
You're in the house, naked John.
I just came to get something to eat. And I've been in broadcast television for 25 years.
As a joke.
Oh, so cool.
Whose dog? Yours?
Who's the dog?
That's a cute dog.
Who's kid?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Joshua Cologne. Sorry. They have the same shape and hair. My bad.
My brother's wedding.
Yeah, Cologne.
Giggity.
Giggity. Right, Velez. Right. Sorry,
If you
Velez.
took yourself out of it a little bit, like right now, I'm sure you can understand why not only it's illegal, but it's just like flat wrong that
It's gross.
anybody our age would be doing something like this. I mean, you're looking at it as puzzled look like it's not a big deal.
No,
You know, I don't even know you, but
P.S. Jeff, turn on the
I feel
fucking
bad that you're not
sass.
somehow comprehending it.
That's how he's gotten by all his life. Sass. Sassy pants.
And here's the thing, too. This personality type, there's a place for it in society.
Yeah.
Because there's enough passive people or people who are so afraid of confrontation or don't want to rock the boat or whatever, they'll just deal with Jeff's bullshit. And, with no stakes, I can see walking up to Sokol here and being like, hey, man, what the fuck? And him being like, meh, and being, hey, Mervin, what's up? Him being like just a fucking insufferable coworker. But since, you're 3 hours into an 8-hour shift and you've got, big plans for spaghetti at home, you go, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right? But a detective, their job is to give a shit about you. It's rough. What up, Dee Dee?
Hey,
I'm
Dee Dee.
so glad to have you. We are rocking it old school and new school.
And if you actually think it's
Merv.
okay,
No, that's not what I'm
that's
saying.
or even kind of okay or situationally okay, it's like you need serious help, honestly. You really do, because that's just fucked up.
I'm not saying that it's okay. I never said that. I was saying
Well, what is
that
it?
my intentions were
What, pure?
my intentions were never to violate her, other than being in her presence.
Here's the thing about the concept of truth, right? The concept of truth versus the concept of facts. I think we hopefully can come to the consensus that a fact is a piece of information that multiple people from multiple perspectives can look at and say, yeah, that's true. Like if we have 2 apples, we add 2 more, we have 4 apples, and we go, that is a fact. All of us in the typing square can say, yes, fact, and put the stamp on it. Truth is a really dicey subject because ghosts, flat earth, Sasquatch, Mothman, tendencies towards attractions toward children are all truths. They're not facts. So you say, well, it's the truth that I wasn't going to hurt or violate this child. And yeah, to you, that is true because having sex with a child isn't a violation to you, nor is it a violent crime or a painful experience. So yeah, that's true. To Jeff, it's a truth that I wasn't here to hurt a child. But the fact is that a psychological scar can develop, and after the fact, we can go, fact, scar happened. Truth, I wasn't gonna. Like, what?
And that's something that, like, obviously it's like a...
I wasn't going to violate her. I was going to rock her world sexually.
Right. Sexually. And yeah, Sokol does feel like whatever... By the time we get to the end, it does feel like Kelly is at his breaking point, but he's such a mild-mannered individual that his breaking point is like, hey.
Because you're not inside my head.
Sexually.
No, I know, but I'm going by the only way I know you is I'm going through the chat, your actions today, what you said. Like, what am I supposed to go by? Something else? You know what I mean?
Haven't you seen the movie
Like,
Pride and Prejudice, Detective? Can't you judge me on that?
Yeah, like, I thought,
You
like...
don't know me either, right? So,
He reminds me, Sokol reminds me of like, as a career, like as a job, him being in a suit and being like a car dealer, a person selling cars. I don't know why I can't pull what they're called.
Car salesman?
A car salesman.
I was one.
I know, but like, and you worked with guys that were like total like dicks and full of themselves and got a lot of sales because
Right,
that's
but
how they were.
Gosh, I don't want to call it a personality type because, again, everything is on a spectrum. We're like, if Jeff were a competent individual in this, because let's be real, it's manipulation. The people who are best at manipulation rise to high places, whether their motives be pure or not. If you want to get ahead, you have to be able to manipulate other people. And manipulation isn't a bad thing. Manipulation just means a change. You're able to reach out into society or the people around you and get what you want.
It's not like the A-type personality.
Whatever. Label it what you want. It doesn't matter. If you're able to get what you want and all ships are raised by the high tides, we consider that virtue. But like Jeff here just does shit, seeks out for himself, isn't necessarily looking for anyone besides himself to benefit.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
C&J Dev says this guy would try to tell you about the artistic value of cuties.
Oh, totally. Hey, cuties. Am I right?
Joe says,
CFS.
officer, why don't you judge me on my dank memes and my photos and not the graphic text I sent
Right,
to a
like,
girl?
Hey, I realize that what you've got in front of me, what in front of you is completely damning, but look at the other part of my life where I'm not a sexual deviant. There, I'm not a sexual deviant.
I bet you won't laugh in 10 seconds. I bet you will laugh in 10 seconds.
Huh, you laugh at this meme video, I get to punch you in the nuts.
How do you...
video, I guess.
Possibly sexually too.
So when you catch these, whatever you want to call them, sex, you know.
Yeah, gross. It's so sad that there are places known for sex tourism and there's literally nothing you as a person can do about it. Cambodia, Taiwan, Vietnam, all those places that everybody knows that you can fly in, Thailand, and just be a fucking creep and come back.
Yeah.
Yikes.
You catch these people meeting with minors.
Yeah.
Just watching
Where'd you go?
videos and shit.
Right. So you got me in the house and everything, and I just like I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, me in the house and everything.
You always do it like that?
Always? No, there's all kinds of ways.
Why? Like, look at this. We are now 41 minutes into this. We are so far from Jeff Sokol realizing that he's in trouble that he's like now questioning their policies and procedures as an entity of the government.
Hey, can I see your SOPs?
Like,
detective?
do you always do it, or do you let a guy like, come on, man, you couldn't let me get my helmet wet. Like, come on, dude. Like, let me at least get a little, like, don't you think you should let something happen before you come and arrest me? Like, let me commit the crime? Intent. Yeah, sure, guys.
Come to light. There's times when something like this happens, and there's times when a parent calls because
Investigation about confronted a doctor in a recent one? Or are you talking about Maurice Wolins?
I didn't do nothing wrong.
15-year-old daughter or whatever.
I didn't do anything, but I did something stupid.
Texting some
Yeah.
guy who says he's 30, come to find out
Seriously.
he's 44 or whatever, and
Shut the fuck up, Jeff.
statutory rape and.
See, I thought it was against the law to
get
have
involved.
sex. To actually have sex.
See, here's the thing. I thought that if I didn't know things weren't illegal, that I wouldn't get in trouble. I fucking love that defense because it never works and everybody says it to each other. And in the pinch, you even say it to the detective and you go, well, I just didn't know. And they go, okay, cool. I don't care.
And then, like, let's say I had sex tonight, and then
Years.
somebody found out that I was with her, and they did some sort of.
Why would we want to wait until that happens?
I don't know. I mean,
It's kind of like saying, well, wait till the guy like robs the bank before you move in. No, if we have probable cause to believe that these guys are about to rob a bank, why am I putting the freaking tellers' lives and innocent people in jeopardy? Or in this case, the girl in the kitchen with a hat on. I'm gonna let you grope her and feel her up and take your clothes off so that what? I have a stronger case?
Hey,
Fuck that. You know what I mean? Hey.
Okay, I realize you can't see it because this footage is bullshit, but you could feel the smirk on this asshole's face, right?
Yeah.
When Detective Kelly's like, do you think we should let them rob the bank? And he's smirking his fucking ass off. He's like, yeah.
Do it.
Like, it is just unfathomable to me because I don't know, that's part of what's so compelling is part of you wants to be like, what made you do that? And the other part wants to go like, I hope I never understand why they do that.
Yeah.
It's the hypocrisy of true crime. You want to go, what made you do that? So I can understand. But the other half of you goes like, I hope I never understand. Because then, like, what if you start identifying?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
the
guess.
True Blue one. I haven't seen the brand new one that came out on the free side of things. But I'm telling you, those True Blue, they take a seat or have a seat or sit right down or come on down with Chris Hansen, whatever the fuck it's
Come
called.
on down. Like Bob.
It's
Bob's
good.
Discovery.
It's not, it's not the gold that was To Catch a Predator, but it's definitely a bronze.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
This is, the
I thought
problem
Chris was going to
with
rot in obscurity.
that law enforcement looks at.
I thought murder
Well,
was
all kinds of
was
people
illegal, not attempted
just
murder.
think that men are pigs
Oh, yeah.
and all they want is sex.
I never said that.
That's what you're making.
Probable
out,
cause.
That's what you're making it out to be. You're basically saying that it's not
Listen.
humanly possible for me to hang out with this girl and not have sex with her. tonight.
I didn't say.
Right. Oh, let Kelly finish because he's
It's
very.
not humanly possible. It's certainly possible that you could have drove down here after you had this sexually kind of charged discussion and
Not have a
maybe you're
boner.
respectful, maybe you're like not some really aggressive guy. She says, "Oh, I'm not feeling it tonight," and you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna come back another time." But really, your intention was Cialis, a lot of this discussion, marriage contract to make it legal. Why would I wait till? How am I gonna?
Yeah, not to go on a tangent too hard, but yeah, the Nicotra thing really, like if the copyright strikes and the Kickstarter backer bullshit and the no money, like if that were its own thing, it probably wouldn't have been as bad as if. But then Nicotra comes along and but again, I feel like that's why the True Blue, come on down and have a seat, you goddamn pedophile with Chris Hansen is so good, is because it shouldn't exist, right? Because TCAP, the Conrad Murray thing, that killed that, and you go, oh god, okay. The have a seat with Chris Hansen, and then he fucks that up, but that was willful fucks up. This is his third. I think that's what's so great about Chris Hansen is that even though he's a little bit like Sokol, he's a little bit of a hypocrite where he stands for good, this, that, and the other. But, money's money and cheating is not so bad, whatever. But it's charisma. He's got a lot of charisma points, so we go, well, okay. We'll keep watching, and I'll keep watching. As long as Chris Hansen's out there doing his thing, he can become a lol count. I'll still watch. He's got something ineffable that I don't think even Nicotra could destroy. He tarnished it crazy, right? But I don't think it's been destroyed. And you can see that. The core of what Chris Hansen is as a journalist is there in the True Blue show, and I don't think he can ever be tarnished or taken away.
Take this on.
Lewis Conrad, yeah. What did I say?
Conrad Murray.
Conrad Murray. Oh, yeah, Murray. Because Murphy, Texas.
Don't mess
Conrad
Murphy.
Lewis. Yeah,
Do
sorry.
this for? You do this for months and months and months? Until one night, God forbid, you actually attack this girl? And nobody's there to protect her?
Man, I'm Sokol.
You're making it sound like you talked about a shared love of music or something else.
Certain hockey, we talk about all that stuff.
Okay, so here's the thing, CNJ Dev. CNJ Dev says the 13 TCAPs thing might literally have been Chris pacing around. And I don't believe that. It's such a big, metaphorically, the internet is such a big ocean. There is no way. Okay, think of it like this. We're still raising awareness for breast cancer. And that's something that's always around, that has spokespeople for, that, we're constantly trying to raise awareness for. I don't think that by the 113th episode of TCAP that finally Chris would be like, you know what? Nobody showed. Everybody's just too
We
smart.
did it.
I don't think so. There's always going to be they may take a dip in quality because the smarter predators will fuck off, and we might get more Stacey's being like, duh, but.
Apparently Mervin moved. They were enjoying him kicking your face.
Oh, did he? Oh.
I don't know. I paused it on my screen so I can't see him.
Should have been kicking my face.
What was I gonna read?
Don't know.
The True Blue has old photos of Hansen, and he was an absolute Chad. So
Seriously?
handsome.
Yeah.
I don't think he was bad looking.
No homo, as we used to say back in the day. But Chris Hansen, even today, he's got a visage that commands, if not respect, at least a little ooh.
I don't know. I saw something that you were watching once a while back of him on a YouTube channel. He didn't look that great.
Really quick. There was a very brief stint, from Nicotra to right before True Blue, where his haircut had some sort of
It was a little rough.
problem. his TCAP haircut was an 11. It was there. And then it went gray, and something on the side kept his barber was this will calm down, I'm sure. It never did. It's been fixed latter day, but yikes.
CCAP 13, all cyber clones.
Jesus Christ.
It's fucked up.
It'd be like Multiplicity with Michael Keaton, except it's cyber.
Sex is part of life. People talk about sex.
Chris Hansen.
One second. Hey, Kev. What's up?
Oh.
I gotta take this call.
Okay, listen very closely to this. Let me back it up just a hair, because this is a very important phone call. Dang it. Come on, back up.
Do you want sausage on your
Music
pizza?
or something else.
We're
There's a
talking
certain
about
book.
washing. We talk about all that stuff.
And he also talked about sex with a 12 or freaking 13-year-old girl.
There are problems with the True Blue show, man.
It's fucked up.
Here we go. Listen.
Sex is a part of life. People talk about sex.
One second. Hey, Kev. What's up?
Did you hear that?
They have pizza in
They
the
still
trunk.
have his pizza.
What do you want me to do with it?
I went out of my way not to listen very intently to this phone call because in my mind it was about the pizza. And god damn it, it's about the fucking pizza.
Take it out. Heat it up, man.
Listen to this phone call and just enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. You can try. I'm in the interview right now, so. You get Chuck or something, I'm in the interview. I'll do whatever you want with it. I don't care. Thanks. Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, I don't care. It's whatever. It's always, it doesn't matter, honestly. Yeah, I don't care. Maybe bounce off a Tony or something if you want. Thanks.
We still got the pizza.
Hey, it's probably not bad. I mean, it's cool out.
No, yeah, when he was eating it in front of Chris, the oil was still glistening. It was still hot.
Yeah.
Like this was not a delivery where it took 45 minutes. He went, it was fresh from the oven and they got it. And this is...
Take a shit on it if you want.
Yeah, seriously, fuck it. Fuck the pizza. I have seen... I don't know how many hours of interrogation footage, and this is probably the only piece of footage where somebody calls talking about potential evidence, what to do with it, and whether or not they should throw it away and or eat it.
And I bet it was loud enough for Sokol to hear. And he's
Well, yeah,
probably
we can hear it. You know we can hear it. Like
Son of
the
a bitch.
fucking... The pizza
I paid for that pizza.
And... Because then, because this is a point of contention, at least for me, because what do you do with it? Money, drugs, guns, any type of physical evidence that'll last, you have to, tag. It has to show chain of command all the way to the court. But when you have a pizza, a large, that's just about as big as a small, and it's not, you can't save it, it's not, you're not going to bring it to court and be like, here's the pizza, sans the slice. You saw him eat in front of Hansen himself. Yeah, you better believe he was calling to be like, all right, guys, there's 4 other cops standing around him in a semicircle, right? And he's like, okay, I'm going to call. He's like, hey, Detective Kelly, we got that pizza. What do you want me to do with it? He wants to hear, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because then he goes, oh, okay. Because the guy he's talking to has to act all nonchalant and cash. He has to go, okay, I guess I'll just... toss it or whatever.
I'll do
Okay,
whatever.
I'll talk to you later, Kelly. Beep. And then he turns slowly to his friends and he goes, it's ours. And they just dig in. Pizza party at the trunk. Yeah, I love it. I love they still leave reviews.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly...
Yeah, you can take a picture of the pizza and then eat it. This was the evidence.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Salmon, isn't that fucking awesome? Yeah, and you just take a couple snapshots of it and be like, here's the pizza, Your Honor. And they were in the wherever their squad car pool is, it's midnight. They're like, man, I haven't eaten. And they're like, you want to go to Whataburger? We can hit up a Taco Bell. And like, oh wait, fucking Sokol's pizza is still in my trunk. And he's like, oh, let me get Kelly on the phone really quick. He's like, hey Kelly, what do you want to do with pepperoni?
It's starting to get cold.
4107.
his pizza. Yeah.
It is a serious problem you have.
I would like to, now hearing the case of Sonny Porter v. Fairfield, Connecticut over one large pizza. Could have been a small.
Because you're still kind of acting like, we had a guy earlier today, he's in tears and shaking. Because he knows it's wrong.
Seriously.
He feels like emotionally, mentally, kind of unstable.
He should be upset.
Totally apologetic. Similar situation, and but at least I felt like he was kind of honing
Wrong
up
night
for
for
his
it.
intention. Maybe not necessarily today.
Listen,
You're acting like you're still trying to turn me to say no, we're just gonna hang out. What's the big deal?
right.
The only problem with that C&J, Dev, is if he did drug it, it would have to be a drug acceptable for him to ingest because he
Was eating it.
went in, man. And maybe he wanted Chris to get a little fucking wacky too, but I doubt it. Like,
No.
do you think Sokol has like a dealer? Like, if Sokol is so white bread that like, this is before dispensaries. If you were like, hey, Sokol, we should score some weed, he would like just go into a city, look for someone of color, and then run back home as soon as he got spooked by something.
Because that was my true intention. So I can't.
Kelly's shouting out
With the
Dupe.
Cialis,
Oh, maybe he's shouting out Dupe. Because Dupe cried his fucking ass off. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah. Kelly's mentioning Dupe. Same sting. And yeah, he's coming up on this channel too. So stick around.
Yeah.
right? Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And that was hard to believe.
With the sex chat, with a long drive. It's not like you said, hey, listen.
Just take a moment to really internalize the vibe that Jeff is giving off. Like, we are now 46 minutes into this interaction. And he's just like, you know what? Let me just slap the old knee. You're just not, come on, man. Like, without the audio, and if I were to take away the part that makes it look like an interrogation, if I were to show you this, you'd be like, oh, a guy's buying a car. Like,
Right.
something low stakes, where it's just like, you know what? I can't do $350 a month. Can you do $328? Like, but the stakes are a little higher. But Jeff's like, you know what? Doopy. Pronounce doopy.
Doopy.
I'm dressing up really nice. I'm going to take you out for something to eat. That's
Looks
cool,
bad.
which is still bad, and I still wouldn't really believe you. But
Yeah,
hey,
looks bad.
you come in with a pizza, you want to hang
Brojo
out home.
did cry a
Parents
lot.
aren't home. Make sure of that.
Well,
and
they
the
did.
first thing you do, you want to give a girl a hug.
They would let me in if the parents were home. They'd let me hang out with her. Parents were home.
Why is that, Jeff?
I wonder-
That's why I wouldn't come. I mean,
Why?
Of course, it wouldn't happen if they didn't let me in.
Right. Why?
Why?
You know why.
You know why. She's fucking
What
14.
a fucking answer, right? In a world where things can be explicit or implicit,
In a world.
in a world where explicitives and implicitives exist, the implicit statements that I hear from suspects are always so much more decadent and enjoyable than explicit. Like when Detective Kelly says, well, why? It would be 1/10 as enjoyable if he was like, because I wanted to get in there and bang some 14-year-old puss, like pound that 14-year-old puss. You go, oh, I knew it. But if he goes, you know why? That is. Because, like, yeah, we do, Jeff. We
Yeah.
definitely do. And when, like, if I were the I don't know, whatever. If this ever went to court and I were the prosecuting attorney and we were watching this footage and I were, in control of the remote just to be like, now it's the prosecutor's time. As soon as he said that, I would do exactly as I did now. I would pause it, do one of these numbers to the jury.
And let's continue.
Yeah, we both know why. I just want you to know why.
If David was the
I'm
prosecutor
well
to this
aware.
case,
I'm well aware
the
that
jury
it's
would
bad.
just leave.
It looks bad.
He stepped on some micro
It's
penis.
bad. It's not just like, hey, we're jumping to
Again,
conclusions here. This guy's a great SAT prep guy. He's working with this girl for the her
I wanted to see
teachers.
what she was all about. I honestly was not planning on having sex with her.
That is fucked up.
No.
You want to see what a 13-year-old girl is all about. You still don't see that as like being an issue.
It's weird because C&J Dev, you're right. It's a vacillation between pity and nothing is wrong. Like, nothing is wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm Jeff Sokol, aka Sonny Porter, and nothing is wrong, right? But the asterisk at the beginning of that sentence is like, and you go to the legend where all the shit is like the legend is like, if there is something wrong, right? I'm actually the victim. What? Like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. But if I did, it was actually like a crime against yours truly. I'm Jeff Sokol.
I can see how it is an issue for most people with a smart
Most people might
Totally
say,
fucked up.
at our age, hey, the girl's like 26, 28, whatever. A little on the younger side for us, but hey, I want to hang out and see what she's all about. She's 12 or 13. 17-year-old boys aren't even interested in her.
Other kids,
You with
Jeff.
me?
I know condoms. I wasn't planning on having sex
Well,
with
you had Cialis.
her. I always have Cialis.
Okay, well, maybe you do. Maybe you travel with it all the time, but, you put these things together, it's not like we're making a big leap here. You
Come
know
on,
what I
do
mean?
it. Do it, Kelly.
But you're still shaking your head with your hands, your arms are crossed. and
Give me
you're
the
kinda wondering,
list.
like, well, this
It's
is
coming
great.
up.
just
I know
wanna
it
hang
is.
out with her.
Because that's the truth.
Even if that was
You
the
can
truth,
kill me
which
and
I don't
tape me,
believe, I don't
I'm not
believe.
lying.
It's all,
Can I have a cup of water?
yeah.
No.
All right, come on.
Have some
What?
toilet paper. It's on the table.
Which is incredible. Like $100,000 an episode, but probably a drop in the bucket when you think about it. Like all the advertising revenue, it was on a major network. Like, I know, right? Like, because I was the 17-year-old. We were all 17-year-olds, and if you can think back to when you were that age and go, would I have? No, I guarantee you wouldn't have.
No.
Because I don't know, maybe most human relationships are based around convenience. Like, it is no coincidence that your best friend just happens to go to your same school or live down the street or work where you work or whatever. Like, as much as we don't like to admit it, a lot of our relationships are built on the convenience. And if the infrastructure to see them is built into the job or the school or whatever, so much the better.
Mm-hmm.
But so that just really illustrates that, like, when you don't have those in place and you have to really put forth the effort, because I mean, think about this yourself. How many relationships have you seen just tank after a job change, a school change, a move, whatever? The intentions were there. So then you go, oh my God, the resolve of a person like Jeff to go above and beyond. It goes, whatever. It speaks to intent, which is murky, but it does feel pretty substantial.
We drank all the water.
Just take a second just to maybe get back here.
Yeah, sorry.
You live
Fuck
in
you,
an
Jeff.
apartment in Brookline? You live there by yourself?
Wasn't doing anything with anyone.
What do you do for work?
Right.
And there's mention in Cheshire.
Wasn't doing anything. Yeah, coming from a guy who lost his virginity at the, ripe, young, and not to brag, he lost it pretty young. I was 22. 17, God knows what I was doing. Fucking playing Halo, probably.
Probably.
Connecticut or something.
Premium auditor. It's like insurance. Auditor insurance policies.
Schrodinger's large pizza. Yeah.
Based in Cheshire,
100% right, Joe.
Work other than-
Yeah, I mean, I work
Work
out
from home or-
of my house, but I mean, I have clients in Boston, yeah. There's people all over the place.
Client.
And,
I wonder what he does.
you know, we spent a lot of time chatting
Insurance.
with this girl.
I forget. Yeah, it was something lame like
Obviously,
insurance or
they're-
something.
You have a computer only, I imagine. You have, you go to different chat rooms and talk to different people. If we looked at some of those things, will we find other younger girls that you're speaking to? Is it a common denominator?
No, I don't think you would find a common denominator.
I don't think.
I'm
So this
talking
is an
about the age
outlier.
Of a female, that's my common denominator.
No.
So you know,
No. Even
what's the youngest girl other than this gal that you've spoken to or chatted with?
I used to play Yahoo
Recently,
games, and I used to play
in the last
pool
couple
on the
months.
computers and do the chat and stuff. God
Insurance
knows.
auditor.
Oh, okay. God knows who I talk to. Like IRL, like who I actually spoke with, you know.
I mean, I've never had.
There are some experiences that you needed or you get to have at the cutting edge of something. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. So predating Yahoo, AOL, all that shit, like ICQ type bullshit. Like back in the old days when I was 5th grade, we had the internet. Not a lot of kids did. My dad worked for the local power company, so we always had extra computers and access to the internet and all that shit, even though it was expensive because my dad's company paid for it. And an entire evening was spent with me and my friend sitting at the computer with my dad in the room, basically spectating and somewhat laughing at what we were doing, like just in random, nondescript, I think probably IRC or whatever, just text block chat rooms, levying horrifying accusations at just random people and laughing our asses off. And yeah, that's the thing, it wasn't real. We'd find people on there and we would, you know, when you're early teens and you start finding like the swear words or the terms of stuff that you didn't know existed that are like wildly inappropriate and you start leveling them at people. That's what we did. And my dad was laughing his ass off, but in our defense, it kind of felt like nobody was invested because it was a role play that no one cared about. Like me and my 12, 13-year-old friend, you know, were being edgelords, which wasn't a term back in the day, to somebody. And they were taking it in stride because they knew it wasn't real either.
Yeah.
Like you could be as edgy as you want. No one cared because it wasn't real. And like, it just kind of felt fun to spin our wheels out.
You were an early troll.
Yeah, I was. We were an early, but that was the thing. I was trolling under supervision because my dad was there to make sure things didn't get out of control. But yeah, looking back, I would not do that as an adult. Like trolling, I find abhorrent, even though I'm into lolcows. I would never actively troll someone unless I knew them and it was like a lighthearted.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I'm not going to like, you'll never see me in Cyrax's chat
Oh my
or
God.
King Cobra's chat or Shanny for Christ chat or any of those shit. Because no, thank you.
No.
Why not like
Yikes,
18 or
in a
17
word.
or 16?
Just didn't. I was not looking for that. This happened. This just happened, and then
How
happened
did,
on the process.
how does this jump out at you?
Sad that I was an early troll.
You know, how did it jump out at you? Like, why would you be so taken with, thank you.
IRC, yeah, there we go.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Here's your 1.5 ounces of
Like I said, it was just,
tap water, Jeff.
Slurp.
like I said, it was just some. You know, she was somebody that I thought I was able to relate to, and you know, have a conversation with. Not everybody that age you can do that with.
What can you tell me about her?
Well, I'm sure everything I tell you about her is probably not true because.
No,
So this is even though Jeff Sokol's an idiot and it's not warranted and unnecessary and yada yada, this is an actually really clever technique, because if you can build up the details of things unrelated to the sex, it'll do a couple of things. If Jeff was able to be like, here's all the details of this kid, they can go, whoa, you were unrealistically interested in a child, that's gross. Or if he goes, I don't know shit about her. Well, they can go, oh, well, so you only wanted to talk to a 13-year-old about sex. That's gross. There's no winning. And that's why it's a great strategy. Because if you go, well, what do you know about this person? Anything you say is going to make you look like a fucking weirdo. Solid copying.
Granted,
CNJ Dev says, I go to lolcow chats to criticize them and get immediately blocked. Here's your espresso shot size of water. George down the hall.
Right. Yeah, George down the hall. Nice Roush reference. Could have been, some Joe Blow, right? Yeah, the troll community, I don't even like using the word community because they're pockets of mold that just sort of pop up around the bigger mushrooms that are the lolcows.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I would love to sort of get in the thick of it peripherally, I know it has the potential to destroy me utterly. And so,
Yeah, no.
That maybe, if I heard it, I might be like, wow, she must be kind of special.
Yeah,
Well, she just seemed.
Why do you love this 14-year-old,
She seemed
Jeff?
like, mature. And, it made me talk about hockey. I don't know. She just seemed chill and like to hang out and stuff.
She seemed chill for a 14-year-old.
I know. I can't.
That's all you can tell me. You can't tell me when she went to the certain.
I was getting major vibes off this 14-year-old.
Middle school, high school. She was going into high school. She had an ex-boyfriend. She had sex with him once or twice. Single mother. Parents are in the house. Siblings. You can't tell me anything like that.
Well, yeah. No, she said she lives with her mom. Yeah.
What's her mother do? Where's her mother supposed to be today?
Come on, Jeff. You fucking.
Yeah, she said her mom was away.
Where? She possibly coming home early? No? Yes? Maybe?
Hey, Jeff, you want to keep adding details that corroborates the chat logs? We'll have an even more ironclad case, you fucking idiot. Even though this seems like bullshit, it actually is pretty substantial. Nail after nail in the old coffin there, Jeff. You want to fucking cross your arms and give me a big ol' before...
Listen.
I have no idea when she's coming home.
Listen, she's 14.
No, I think she's like away.
I had 17 Cialis in my system. I wasn't going to have sex with her. I got a boner. Talked about Hannah Montana. Oh my God, have you seen Miley Cyrus's robot voice? I don't know if that's her voice all the time now, but she's turning into Jeff Stacey, I feel. Sorry about
You
that.
didn't inquire where, though? If I was going to be careful to the point I'm going to research
Oh, she said Dallas.
Pretty casual.
know where,
She said Dallas.
how much trouble I may or may not be in if things, as you said, like either got out of hand or you had relations. I would assume
Slam
you
that
know
cup
where
down.
the freaking mother was so that you
Pissed.
weren't walking in on you, right?
She said she was in Dallas.
Okay. And what's her mother do? Do you know what she does for work?
She said she was in financial services.
Does it? That's crazy.
Anything else about the girl that you were chatting with? For home life, or school, or friends, or...
No, I mean, she said she just moved to Connecticut,
Where'd she move from?
California, she said.
California to Connecticut. What a move for this
Yeah,
fake
right.
person.
You ever talk about having her come to meet you somehow? Or was it always this way where you thought maybe I'll come see you?
Yeah. Talked about it.
Did you ever plan on meeting her on previous occasions, maybe outside of the mother's purview, like maybe at a
But
coffee
how?
shop or store or something?
Not that I recall.
No.
No. I guess, when she said her mom's going away, that was like an opportunity to meet her. To hang out and meet her at her house.
Oh my God. And he's
Do you have any
even
hobbies?
Listen,
leaning back on the chair so that the
Yeah.
front two chair legs are up in the air.
yeah, he's casual as fuck. Jeff's like, hey, man, if the mom's there, I'm not. But if she ain't, I'm going to
I'm
come
there.
check that shit out. Not to have sex now, but maybe when she's 16.
After
Or
the contract.
if a contract gets signed, like this isn't Appalachia, right? Like it's not like a 16-year-old goes to a 14-year-old and their parents go, well, I mean, where else are you going to go? Like,
right.
I do.
Dale Hart Jr. memorabilia. Yeah, he said it a lot.
That's it.
Sometimes. Fitness, like to work out. I'm addicted to football.
Are you into fitness? Oh, yeah, really? Fitness dick in your mouth? Is that a funny joke, guys?
Coaching or anything like
I think
that.
Jeff's into
Just
fitness.
volunteer or anything, respect.
P.S. Jeff is into fitness.
Yeah.
Real fit nut. He's like on the 12 steps of Roush, right?
Tennis.
No, I just.
He's on the
Kids.
Pompilio's 12 step.
There you go. He's on the road all the time. He gets fast.
He's on the small is as big as a large
Whatever
plane.
you know, real recently, 18, 20, whatever.
No.
Born in 1820.
Never. The last 10 years.
Oh, Jeff.
You can check it out. You won't see anything.
Check what out? What am I going to check out?
I don't know. You guys can.
I don't know. It's it. Whatever it is.
Whatever
check it out.
it is.
Wherever you can see it, look at it. Check it out. You'll see. No, I ain't there.
The small mac and cheese is almost like
So you have, what do you have at your home? You have computers, I imagine, or one?
Yeah,
or
what
more
do you
at
have at your home,
or
Jeff?
or
Yeah,
I've got a
personal-
fridge.
Computer and personal.
What type of sites have you been on? You went on, I guess, this one where you met her?
Yeah, I mean, I use that site sometimes on the board. Another site.
That's something that comes up too. Is like the concept of boredom being a deciding factor. I spend a lot of every day bored. I can't think of a single instance that I've been like, you know what? Kids? No,
Well,
never.
And if he was like
You're the one that's
looking for somebody, this is 2015. We met on OkCupid in 2011. So like
Did we? Damn.
dating sites
Bored?
are a thing. So like why not use those?
Right, and that's it. Is like
You don't remember when we met?
no, I know. I'm just trying to collate all my thoughts here because I don't know. I'm trying to put myself in a position where like an underage person was coming at me and I would have shut that shit down from coast to coast 100 times out of 100. And I did because there are, when you're on the internet and you are of age, you're going to get into those sticky situations where someone's going to be like, I am this and I'm this. And like, that's the legal thing. And I go, boom, dunzo. And that's the sticking point, I think, is when you hear that wild shift that turns you from just like a casual internet weirdo to like a straight up classifiable criminal according to our statutes that you look up. I don't know. You could say, well, I didn't know, or like, whatever your excuse is, or I didn't care. I wasn't ever going to do it. But the fact of the matter is, like, we're living in a reality where you were driven to this house. And I don't know if we're ever going to have the Ed Kemper of this genre.
No.
We'll have murderers who murder and do unspeakable acts like that and be candid about it. But then again, I got to shut my mouth because there's footage out there. I can't remember the kid's name and I apologize, but he killed his mom and violated her corpse and was completely candid about it throughout to the detectives. So there was a sexual component there, but again, he had a mental illness. So that's the thing. I think murder is something that people who don't identify or have been identified as a mental illness, it's easier for us to say, yeah, I committed a murder than it is for any sort of sexual crime.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably.
Which is weird because, I mean, arguably one is worse than the other depending on what side of the fence you sit on. If you're murdered, there's no more experiences ever. If you're sexually assaulted, you have the potential to have your experiences tainted for the rest of your life. What's worse? What's better? I don't know. But here we are sitting in the middle. And what do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You throw Sokol in the fucking pen. He's no gray area. That's where we can all feel good.
What was that, a password again? You said 102?
Yeah.
And Carta. Huh.
What's she in here as, by the way? For like messages.
Bailey.
So I'll just go back today while I was looking at this, it'll probably make it easier on me. How long have you been planning to see her today? I mean, before today, was this like in the works for a couple of days, or?
Actually, just made a decision today.
Actually, I wasn't even going to come
It was talked about, but I hadn't committed really.
All right, we don't need the sass, Sokol. We're going to back that shit up. Actually, you know what, bitch?
Because I would say I had apprehension about the whole thing.
So you did more research today, just found it out you'd have to get a written consent by her mom to get.
And then he tells the kid the plan, right? I don't know how to take that. Because if your main goal in life is to do things that are gross but not illegal, the informed consent of the victim seems confusing. Because I guess you want to prime the pumps if you show up with a contract to be like, hey, just a quick scribble and we can bang.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's almost like as disgusting as the alibi letter from What's His Nuts, where he goes, I am coming here to mentor a small child. But if that comes at the tail end of like genitalia talk, like the mentor thing kind of rings hollow.
Fuck. Like, as in frustration, right?
Totally. Flash games. Like, isn't Newgrounds a thing in 2015? Play a flash game, Jeff. Jesus Christ.
Was it like World of Warcraft?
Yeah, a tower defense thing you can load up real quick. Clash of Clans? Is that your thing?
Play some pinball.
Look, he's holding a smartphone that's all screen. There's no, like,
Yeah.
we're beyond buttons.
It's 2015. It was only 7 years ago.
YouTube exists. It is worse than the alibi letter.
No bullshit. And I'm probably doing you a favor. You've probably had a major league issue with this for a long time.
He likes that term. Major
And
league.
He
He likes baseball.
Sokol on Farmville.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he would be blowing up Facebook with like, help me milk my cows or whatever. But yeah, I don't know this for a fact. I have not looked into it, but I guarantee that Detective Kelly is an umpire, a coach, or something for his kid's softball or baseball team.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All of his metaphors revolve around baseball, which again, I can appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Some people go with their metaphors like Grand Amato's interrogators. Every metaphor is completely off theme from the last, and it's just like a blunderbuss of bullshit. Kelly sticks with something that works because that's what you do. If you are versed in something, it's easy to analogize to it, especially if that thing is America's national pastime.
Right.
I feel like a lot of my metaphors and analogies are lost because it's like, what the fuck? But everybody knows what fucking baseball is. Everybody knows what a major league problem is. Everybody knows that you struck out, you did a foul, you grabbed your balls or whatever.
You did a foul.
For tonight.
You had a major league run. You like sunflower seeds, stuff like that.
But you're certainly.
Big league chew.
We're preying on her.
Intentions during the chat. Yeah, that's the thing. No, during the chat, it's not like, okay, after all that sex talk, I'm just coming to mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I feel like Kelly has, because again, he's a little older than Jeff. He's probably got 15 years of coaching and or umpiring softball and baseball under his belt.
Your metaphors and analogies are top shelf.
That's why they're so hard to get at. People reach for the bat. You know, You walk into the liquor store, you look, oh, that's so high up there. Potter's is right there by the floor.
Yeah,
Fleischmann's is right there by the floor.
I've been married to him for 9 years now, and a lot of the analogies go over my head because I reach for
tremendous
bottom
love.
shelf.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Or I'm
Moral is like-
mid-range.
That's the thing is like my desire to be flowery in my prose often alienates me from the person I'm trying to connect with. Whereas like if Kelly goes, that's a major league problem, you go, oh, okay, I get it.
I get it.
It's a problem. You like baseball, and I know what the major leagues
It's
are.
real big.
It's not a AAA problem.
No.
No, it's a major
It's
league
an
problem,
expensive
bitch.
problem.
Like, you're not spring training with the Oakland A's. You're on the fucking team.
All right. She's 13, she's 14 years old. You're going to drive down from Boston.
Boston.
You want to drink with her?
Bring her a
You got
lobster.
Cialis in your
Lobster.
pocket. You may have one in your system.
Lobster.
You a Boston fan?
And you want
It's a
bag
Boston
of
cap.
shit, right?
Yeah, it's a Boston cap.
You weren't gonna.
Nope.
So even if she wanted it, you're drinking, you feel good.
Just
You got
are,
a boyfriend,
okay.
right? You haven't had a girlfriend in a little while.
It does feel like that, right? Like every time Jeff tries to flush away the previous thing with his most current statement, he's already shit in the tank.
Yeah.
It's just more of his shit. Fucking every time he
Would not,
Boston
would not
cap.
do it.
You Boston fan?
Because I was
Oh, the Wiley Mo Pena, am I right? Baked salmon? Huh?
too
It's a good
scared.
reference to your episode. Wiley Mo
You
Lester.
can see I said it a lot in our messages.
Protector.
I
So
said,
you're gonna drink with a 13-year-old girl
Oh, God.
while her mother's in fucking Dallas, Texas. Or
If you thought the Jeff was insufferable, just wait, because that knob has more room on it.
I already said before. And you're
Chowder.
worried about
Bowl of chowder.
consequences?
Lobster.
Like, seriously.
Yep.
Clam chowder.
I'm serious.
We're adult men, dude. Talk to me. You can't be serious.
See, then you're
No, I'm being serious.
you're bringing that up again. You're
Why?
basically insinuating that.
No, because I'm not 22 and you're
I'm
not
a
50
pig,
and
man.
I'm not 50 and you're not 20. Like, I'm 47. So, like, we're in the same realm here.
Yep, I understand.
Yep.
And you're going to drink with this girl who you know is how many years under the age of, you know, being able to consume alcohol? 7, 8, depending on what age you're talking about. And you have Cialis and the whole texting stuff going on. It's like,
He's definitely serious. Just wait.
I mean, seriously, just own up to what you did. You're trying to still kind of keep it over here, and it's not there. You're not doing yourself any favors the more you act like that.
Chowder. Say it, Frenchie. Say chowder. 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 Chowder.
If you want to get past this and get well and not be in this position someday, probably in another police department or worse, if somebody ever walked in on you, or you hurt some girl who, again, is 12, 13 years old.
14. She's 14, Kelly. We've been over
God
that.
damn it.
It's 2 years. It's different.
Just look at yourself in the mirror and, like, think about
Seriously,
what you're talking about.
the hypocrisy, like our day-to-day hypocrisy is somewhat weak because we're behind our eyes the whole time. So we know that when we're doing the thing that we speak out against, it hurts. And that we know when we speak out against it, the people we speak out against, that we remember the thing that we spoke out against that we did and it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're willing to look at it, if you're completely oblivious to it or a narcissist or whatever problem you've got, you just don't care. And that's where we're at. I don't think it hurts Jeff for this incongruity to be called to light. I don't think he's ever thought of it before. And the fact that he has to face it now, I don't know. It just seems like it feels 50-50 because you say actions and words often work in opposition. And when you're forced to put those two together, it's easy to see a meltdown, but sometimes you just get a sassy bitch like Jeff here who crosses his arms and goes, you know what, despite all that, I know who I am and you don't. And that must feel like something, right? Because you go, well, you don't know me. That didn't work on Jerry Springer. It didn't work on Sally Jesse Raphael. No one needs to know you because when they find you in bed with a child or with a bloody corpse and you're holding the knife, you can't say you don't know me.
You don't know.
It doesn't
me.
matter. No one needs to know you. Happy birthday, JD. 37 today. I remember being 37. Seems like only last year. And it might have been, for all I know.
You can cross your arms and hide all you want.
No,
You know what?
I know.
You weren't going to touch her.
No, I know that it looks bad.
It is bad.
It is bad.
It's not just it doesn't look bad. It's horrible.
Yeah, the whole thing is bad. But my intentions were not to have sex.
So you're going to drink with this girl who, like, how much alcohol could she have drank in her life?
Let's take a,
So she's going to act how? Probably like a basket case.
let's take a lie detector test.
That's gonna
For
prove
what?
nothing.
I don't know.
You're a fucking
Yeah, and then he says, for what? Jeff says, I don't know. Shut the fuck up, Jeff. Like, if you're so stupid, you're like, well, why don't you just polygraph it? Give me a lie detector. About what? What possibly could they ask you that isn't, number one, in the chat, and number two, they already have, like,
Your phone.
right. We're in
This
the
whole
age
thing.
of a digital footprint. It's not like the first time DNA was used and they go, I don't know, this is junk science. It's like you can call up Verizon and be like, hey, you got any dick pics? And they go, yeah, tons.
All of them.
sociopath.
All
Is
of them.
it admissible in court?
I don't know. It's so important. I mean, I would swear in court that I wasn't.
I almost walked out the
You
moment he
weren't
walked
planning
in.
on having sex with her.
Right.
Maybe you didn't plan on having sex with her, but it would have happened if.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree. Sure, I brought Cialis, a large pizza. We talked about, did he bring booze? He definitely talked, they're obviously talking about having a drink. But no, definitely. I definitely would have made every preparation for the end goal of sex, right? But I guarantee I wouldn't have had sex because me, I'm a planner, not an achiever.
Why?
Yeah, again, let's go back to this whole thing, remember?
Right. The thing, not to pull off topic, but yeah, lie detector tests, polygraph tests, if you will, measure various biometrics and are completely useless. They're inadmissible, they're junk science, and they're garbage. It's nice to see guilty people with the benefit of hindsight go through them, like Stephen Duxbury with the Sasha Samsudin case. It's nice to have that footage of him being like, you fucking failed super hard, and P.S., you're the one who showed that you failed, Steve, so thanks for that. But yeah, it almost feels like phrenology. It's such old world batshit bullshit pseudoscience that I hate it. Have a good night, Z and J Dev. Thank you for joining us. That's the end of my lie detector rant.
Just hang out, companion, a friend. Seem cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with like hanging out.
Gnomes, that's something you bring up that I think is more of a trend in Have a Seat with Chris Hansen than it was with TCAP, because all the TCAP dudes immediately started shitting their pants. All that interrogation footage, bar 2 or 3, Kelly being one of them, they were all shitting their pants because they knew they were in trouble. Whereas like all the Latter-day Predators are just like, what? Like, this isn't a big deal, bitch. But then we have full circle with the True Blue show because Chris Hansen is interviewing them in full view of the police after the bust. So we got all of it. We got to see the whole, yeah, he's right. He's rationing the water. It is funny to see how long he's making that cup last, right?
Somebody, because you think they're cool.
You want to, how could she be cool? No offense to
How?
any girl that is that age.
Well, I
She's
talked
cool
to her.
to you?
I talked to her enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's how she's cool, officer.
I talked to her.
She was 14 and I talked to her enough and she was cool.
That it doesn't look bad. I'm not saying it's not.
Terrible, dude. It is terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible if I have sex with her.
The whole thing is terrible, Jeff.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, I agree. If you'd have let me fuck her, that would have been fucked. I'm glad you didn't. Good on you, Detective Kelly. Fist bump. But bro, for not letting me fuck I'll get you later. I'll catch you later.
It's terrible that you're willing to drink and put yourself in that position and come down here probably for the intention of doing that.
Right, and I can't control myself. You don't think I can control myself?
No.
Have a drink and have some pizza, and you don't think I can control myself and not have sex with her?
I don't know you.
I don't know you at all.
Oh, you don't know
I would
me.
say you
Hello, Elsa
probably
Marie Spanish.
can't control
OMG,
yourself.
hi.
Since you got in the car on a Saturday night and drove all this way to meet this
Seriously.
girl you've never met, you chatted with about sex and pics and yada, yada, yada.
Okay, so here's another thing I'm going to like in this too. Repetition makes something feel more true. That's just a fact of life and human nature. If you hear someone say something, even if you don't know anything about it, you hear someone say something a lot, you'll just sort of take it as true. So it kind of feels like we're trying to get Jeff to be a born-again Christian. In that, like, the detective here is coming to Jeff with the truth, right? He's got the truth. He wants Jeff to see the light, for there to be some sort of awakening and to accept reality as it is with this new perspective, all thanks to Guru Kelly here. And that's what most interrogations are. It's a light or heavy leading by the nose toward some sort of enlightening element of the case, whether it be a details of how it was committed, motive, whatever. And it just feels like even if you could be completely explicit, it's impossible, because when you're trying to teach, a crash course morality study to someone who's spent 44 years acting the way they have, it's by and large not going to work. Anyone can pop or make a change of personality or have an awakening or an enlightenment or a revelation or an epiphany at any moment for any reason whatsoever. That being said, no matter how hard you try, you're not going to get one by forcing it. So it's kind of funny because a realization is a real thing. It's you go, whoa, I can't believe that happened, but it's organic and it's spontaneous. You don't know how it's going to happen. But we have to sit and try and force one like we're squeezing the last bit of toothpaste out of a tube, but it's already gone. The last toothbrushing you had with this tube that was it. Jeff Sokol is an empty tube. There's nothing left. So we end up circling this train of, don't you see what's wrong? Don't you see what's wrong? Don't you see what's wrong? It's a seminary student being like, do you accept Jesus? Come on, just do it.
Yeah.
And getting married and getting her mother's consent so you can have sex with her, so it would be legal to try to, circumvent the law. You think that's normal?
No, it's not. I mean, even told her that.
And you almost light up like you're proud of that fact.
It's not normal. And I said it, so I should get points.
Point.
This is weird. 14-year-old. Yeah. Acknowledgement of it. Like, if two furries meet at a convention and want to fuck each other, if one of them says it's weird, it doesn't suddenly make it weird. It's weird from soup to nuts. But if one of them, in their fucking Arctic fox head and the other one is standing over there with their dolphin mask or whatever, and they go, this is weird. Just because it's said aloud doesn't mean it wasn't true to begin with.
It's disturbing.
I'm not proud of it. I'm
You can't
acting
expect the
this way
toothpaste.
No.
for several reasons. One, because I'm probably probably too much shock to realize this is even happening.
Doesn't he just appear like he's in shock?
God, like he's just gonna keel over and pass out. He's in so much
Every
shock.
time I'm in shock, I nurse an ounce and a half of water and lean back onto my back two legs while pretending I wasn't here to assault a child.
Yeah.
And two, I know what my intentions were. And
You can say that, and maybe
Not
some of
intentional.
what you're saying is accurate and true. I don't know, but
because I wrote on Skype, I wrote all these messages.
It feels like Jeff Sokol is this far away from being Chris Chan with his true and honest intentions toward the decoy.
Oh God.
I feel like Jeff is minutes away from showing his fangs to Detective Kelly.
Stating that I don't want to have sex. I don't want to have sex if it's going to be against the law.
Not if it's immoral, not if it's unethical. If enough people got together to write on a piece of paper, it's bad, I'm going to try and get around that piece of paper, detective. That's the kind of man I am. I work within the law. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
I am the law.
This guy, Jeff Sokol, is the Judge Dredd of TCAP. He will not have sex with a child unless it's lawful. And if it isn't, he'll make it that way because he is the law.
Yeah.
He's Judge Statute.
How can you not interpret
I am the
that
statute, Mama.
as me
Mama.
trying to obey, not trying to obey the law? How can you interpret that?
how can I interpret it that you're not?
That-
The girl is 13 years
Okay, so
old.
keep going back to
and
that.
You want to?
Yeah.
You're trying to.
You're really stuck on the fact that she's a child detective. Can't we just move on? Like, yeah, she's a kid. Chill. Let's
Next.
talk about softball, man. I know you love that shit.
Give me a
I'll be
minor
blunt.
league question.
You want to be able to bang her.
Jeff is making that ounce and a half of water last longer than I made this 20 ounces of delicious homebrew plum cider last. It's totally empty.
And the only way you think you're able to bang her and have sex with her is by getting her mother to sign a marriage application or
Right.
certificate.
Which is-
That's the only reason. You don't even care about the mother. In fact, the only reason you're at the house is because the mother is 1,500 miles away.
Right, and I realized
Right,
that is would have been virtually impossible.
As it should be.
Right. But
God forbid it happened all the time. Where would our society be, right? All these creepy older guys would be going after these, middle school girls?
I hate what he's doing with that chair. I just want to, like,
Sixth
I
or
want the
seventh
detective to
grade,
just
and
kick
I figured-
the front out and so he
Right.
falls backwards.
Everything he does is fucking obnoxious.
He's like a toddler.
There's, God damn it, and I can't remember, but there's like some great, it's either a movie or maybe it's part of SVU, I don't know. But like, there's some film out there where the detective comes in, like kicks the chair out from under him, like smashes his head on the table, like basically violates all the things that like the Geneva Convention of Police Officers, right? And on one level you go, why can't that be real?
I feel like that's something that Elliot Stabler would do.
Right. I feel like it was in a movie though, because it got super violent. I remember seeing blood. I can't remember the property, but like, yeah, part of you as a human wants that blood, and it's ridiculous because like, this is not a. I mean, this is to quote Stephen G.C. This is a thought crime for all intents and purposes. It was a decoy. There was never a child. There's never any sex. Yada yada yada. But fuck, now I'm so happy to pull the Stephen GC reference. I forgot what my point was.
I don't know, but Allison says he's one of the more punchable people.
Seriously, like there are some predators when they get caught, they whimper and it puts you in mind of like a Yorkshire Terrier being yelled at by a 300-pound man.
Mm-hmm.
And so you as the white knight of this lolcow situation wants to jump in and be like, don't be mean to Ken, or Dupé's sad. But then there are ones where like you just want to fucking put on that loincloth made of bear skin and be the biggest, baddest troll of them all.
Yeah.
And Jeff is that troll bait.
Insanity says,
Like-
Detective Kelly in church. The Virgin Mary got knocked up without getting banged. Hand to God.
Hand to God. Virgin Mary got knocked up, didn't get banged by Joseph. Hand to God.
You said she's mature.
Good
and
lobster
she's kinda,
roll
she's
for the
really
cheesesteak.
smart and she's really.
I don't look at her as going after her. I mean,
He's barely hanging on.
Well, you can drive and she can't, so she's
Right.
not coming after you.
well, but she's pursuing me too, online and.
Yeah, with
Negative,
this little adolescent brain and intellect of hers, right?
It's not
And
like
you're a guy that's my age basically, and you've
That's
been
not
through
like-
college and
yeah.
you've worked for 20 years and you've been married and divorced, and this girl's like what should have been maybe a product of your marriage, like a young girl, 12 years old, 13 years old.
It's so funny. Zico is 14. He will not. 12. 13 is the highest to go.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Jeff. 12 or 13. That's all you're getting. Fuck you.
And you're gonna
I'm sorry. Yes, it looks awful. It
just
looks-
say
Here we
it
go.
is awful. Because stop saying it looks awful. It is awful. It's kind of pissing me off, actually.
Wasn't that blistering? You just saw Detective Kelly blow up
Woo.
at Jeff Sokol. It's kind of pissing me off, actually. It is fucking awful. It doesn't look awful. It is awful. This is the guy you want at third base, right? He goes,
Yeah.
you know, when someone's screaming in your face, it doesn't look awful. It is awful. It doesn't look like you're out. You are out. Get back to the fucking dugout.
Jeff peaked in high school,
doesn't
so
just
not
look
many
awful.
people are
No,
sure.
well,
how
Oh,
I walked in the
totally.
library and you were leaning over my daughter's shoulder, talking to her, come to find out you're teaching her something about computers and everything's. It looks awful, but maybe it's not awful. Maybe I overreacted initially. This is fucking awful and disgusting, actually.
Actually,
Period. You're a dad, reverse it, and I'm you. You probably want to strangle me, right?
Most likely.
I want to bang your daughter.
Most likely.
Hello? Yeah, you would.
I fucking
Hello.
hello. I love dry humor, and Detective Kelly, when he doesn't start warming up, you know, as you've seen, until like 40, 50 minutes into this shit. But it's not much. But he's like, hello, or like, actually, or like, what the fuck, or like, yeah, like, his humanity is there, but it's so subdued. Fucking perfect interrogator for Sokol.
You'd probably be over the table, like, trying to kill me right now. Not most likely either. Like, absolutely. You have a
Definitely.
serious problem.
Hello.
Until you, like,
Isn't that
admit it.
great?
You're not going anywhere. You're not going to get better. You're not going to, this stuff's not going to go away.
Seriously.
I don't know when
Really?
it started. You need,
Really? You don't think this is enough for me to realize that?
I don't think you can help it because you keep on going like
Really?
this and saying, well, you don't know what my intentions were until you like admit the truth.
One of my favorite phrases when it comes to detectives is reading the room or getting a temperature of the room. And this guy has his, like, Detective Kelly's a fucking meat thermometer. I don't think he's made a misstep at all during this interaction. He is completely just cutting through the bullshit. He's not letting Jeff go on any of this stuff. He's like, you got a problem. Here we go. And quit fucking bullshitting me. But he's not being like in your face about it.
Right.
Because when people lie to you, there are many ways you could handle it. And just a flat refusal, but calm, is like the best way to do it. Because if you do it any other way, you're just going to be causing yourself stress because Jeff is not getting a rise, or he's not getting a rise out of Jeff at all of this. Like, he's just sitting there rocking away. And yeah, when Jeff says, don't you think that this is enough for me to change? Detective Kelly and I and everybody else watching see that no. Like, when you cross your arms and rocking yourself, like, if you're at ease in this entire conversation and you go, whoa, I was in shock, and don't you think this is enough? Like, it wasn't 10 minutes ago where you were like, I don't think I did anything wrong. So, yeah, Sonny.
What your
So
actual
delayed.
intention was, you wanted to have sex with
Sonny
a fucking
D.
13-year-old
Sonny P.
girl.
I'm not
That's
gonna
why
do
the
that.
contract, that's why the mother comment about the signed contract,
No.
all those things, the only
Sonny
reason,
Derek Porter.
doesn't make a difference if it's tonight or tomorrow.
Hey, Fantastic Planet.
I'm being honest with you on this. I wasn't
Makes those
planning on
moments
having
all
sex
more
with her.
thrilling.
You weren't planning on having sex with her tonight. How many times have girls said that about a date with a guy? I wasn't planning on having sex with a guy, and oh my God, he was so handsome,
Okay,
and
so
it
you're
was
picking
really
apart.
nice, and you know,
You're
I
picking
wasn't
apart.
planning on it.
You're
I
picking-
wasn't planning on like stubbing my toe,
You're picking
but I
apart
did.
what I'm saying.
No, because you're not being genuine. Like, be truthful. Just say, if you said, I was not going to, there was no way in hell. I was dropping the pizza, having a slice,
Well,
and
that's
saying,
what,
man,
that's
I'm
what
on
I'm
my way to
saying.
New York,
That's
nice
what
to
I've
meet
been
you.
saying all along is that
You wait
it
till the
wasn't-
mother's not home, you get to see all this, and you're talking about alcohol with a girl who's 13? That's a great idea. Let's drink with a 13-year-old.
wasn't gonna have sex. I just
Even if she starts freaking out and dropping all her clothes, you want no part of it.
leave.
I believe that one. I don't, by the way.
I fucking love that. He's not even gonna let Jeff sit in that for even a second. He's like, I believe that one. He's like, no, just kidding,
No.
Jeff. Like, you're stupid enough. You probably would fucking buy that shit. Have a slice of Chris Hansen. Oh yeah, holy shit. If in a perfect world, I'm sure you must have seen that interview show with that guy Hot Takes where they eat wings. Like, imagine have a slice with Chris Hansen. Oh my God. Just like he pulls each predator in, he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, or maybe he comes out with the pizza. The cookies are there, the tea is there, but he comes out and he's like, hey, I got the small. The large, I realized, was just a little bit more, but fuck you.
Stubbing my toe on the banister. Oh, God.
Seriously, dude, come on.
I know it's hard to believe because, most guys, all they think about is sex, and that's all they want is sex. Yes, we talked about
Chris
sex,
Hansen.
but I was not going to have sex with her and break the law.
Okay.
Breaking the
And
law.
it's obvious from my text messages.
Obvious.
You're still
Look at, you can tell it is really wearing on him. He has the
It's almost midnight.
it's so easy for cops to become jaded and short-tempered and irritable and angry and biased. And I feel like fucking Kelly here has the patience of a saint. Everything about him, the fact that he's putting up with this at all,
Yeah.
because really it's unwarranted. He's gotten so much incriminating evidence on top of the you know why I was here type bullshit that Jeff has been doing, but still he sits here. I don't know out of morbid curiosity. I don't know out of maybe a genuine desire to help his fellow human in whatever small way he can, but god damn it, look at him. And Jeff is causing this man so much consternation. It makes me fucking hate Jeff even more than I usually do, which is a lot.
up on this. You're looking for an angle so that you wouldn't have to break the law.
I'm so cool.
You're not not doing the deed.
If
You
it
want
came to that.
to somehow circumvent it so that it would
Fuck,
somehow
dude,
be
go easy
legal
on the
or
cup.
okay in your mind,
Okay with everybody.
right? But that was your intention. It wasn't
Sokol special.
I gotta wait till she's 16, 17. I'm not touching this poor thing because she's only 13 years old. That wasn't your motivation. It was like, I want to bang her. I gotta get her mother to sign her over.
To be honest, I had nothing to do tonight. I really just wanted to.
To be honest, I love that phrase. To be honest.
To be honest, I wanted to drive almost 3 hours there and well, really 6 hours there and back total.
To be honest. I mean, honestly, detective, at 1 hour and 7 minutes, to be honest, if I were honest with you, I hate that phrase. It's kind of like listen, because it's a phrase that doesn't mean anything. It's just a filler to buy time. On top of being like a reinforcer, like you can, in the same vein of, like I said before, listen, all this bullshit where it's like, hey, these are all modifiers that are supposed to lend credence to an obvious bullshit story. I don't know, it feels like being presented a wedge of Swiss cheese with a bunch of corks in the holes, and being told there's no problems.
Meet her and then
Okay.
figure out some, later what I was going to do as far as, all that other stuff.
All right.
I mean, you're proving me to be an evil person that doesn't care about anyone's, well-being, and I'm admitting to you that
See, that's projection. I don't think that has been the point of this at all. Like Kelly has said, yeah, you've got a problem, you need help, but pity party and victim card pulling sassy Jeff Sokol is like, well, you're saying that I'm this evil. Like, I'm not getting that. Like, the projection is strong in this one because there's nothing. But again, my caveat that I always put into all of these is like, people are weird. You don't know how anyone's going to react in any given situation because unless they've been in it before. But like, it just seems like the genuineness of a person should shine through in high stress situations. And that's what we're getting here with Jeff, is like his genuine core is shining through whatever he thinks the output is or the outward exterior appearances. It's like your gut intuition. When you talk to someone, no matter what they're saying, you will get a feeling for them. And if the feeling is good, their words will be congruous with that. And you go, okay, great. This is a nice person. Your gut lines up with your head and you're integrated with them. Nothing about Jeff is an integrated person. Like, he's not. It just feels like, how do I want to put this? When you look at a person, you get a feel for them, you see them as what they are. They're one person that you can associate a bunch of feelings, activities, and or emotions with, and you go, okay, that's a stable person or a pattern in my life that I can relate to. Jeff feels like a mannequin full of marbles, but the mannequin isn't a real mannequin. It's like a giant Stretch Armstrong. So it's constantly shifting into whatever shape it needs to, but it's always weird and lumpy and unpleasant and not right. So all of his efforts to like be like water and to fill any situation seamlessly and flawlessly is undercut because it's not water. It's marbles. And he sucks. And he's stupid.
But he sucks.
It's wrong. If anybody who
Good night.
hears stories
Gnome. I
like
almost called you
this,
Goblin. Sorry. Good night, Gnomes.
Good night, gnomes.
You
You little
Even
goblin.
you thought so.
They don't know all the facts.
Well, you thought so too, because you researched the law, right?
Yes, I was like researching stuff for things that I wanted to know. If I did this, what would happen? If I did that, what would happen?
But here's the thing. The guy who killed his wife, who Googled basically every aspect of murder and then removal of a body. Yeah, you Google things you want to know so you can do them. Like when I wanted to get into home brewing, right? I Googled it. I looked it up and then I did it. It wasn't like a bunch of glass carboys and yeast materialized in my house. And then I said, fuck it. Let's do this, bitch. No, like in Google searches more than anything show intent, because how did the search happen
Right.
if you didn't want to know how to murder someone, or how old you needed to be to legally have sex with someone, or what needs to be in a contract that you need to hand to a mother so you can have sex with their child?
Right.
That is the definition of intent. Because that's it. There's no better way. Like if you have a bunch of drugs in your pocket, those could all be for you. Intent is murky. you got a knife in your pocket, and you had some beef with someone, intent is murky. This isn't murky. It is like your intent is as much of a concrete thing as it can be. In a world of wishy-washy and like in where anything can be interpreted any way you like, this has removed all outside possibilities. Whereas like, but that might just be intent. Yeah, it is. It's 100%.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I was going to do
Good
it.
night, baked salmon.
Night.
I just want her to know what
What would the ramifications be if you served her alcohol?
what are the rules?
And she got hammered at home
Well, the law says
with you? Is that cool?
Well,
Did you circumvent that?
I wasn't going to let her get hammered.
You're just gonna have a little vodka?
Yeah.
Yeah?
A drink.
Who are you
drink.
in her life to even say that's okay?
Well, no, I'm not going to like I'm not going to be like, forcefully take the bottle away from her. I would just to say, let's have one drink, Have a
She's
drink,
14. I was given my first alcoholic beverage when I was 12 years old
right.
by a parent.
But here's the thing. Yeah, fucking Jeff.
And that wasn't appropriate.
So he says, I'm not in this situation. That first half presents a situation where she already has the bottle. There's something established and he's not going to take it away from her. But then he follows it up with like,
Just going to have a drink.
horse first, cart second. You don't say, I'm not going to take the bottle away from her. So if I offer her a drink, we're going to have one drink. That horse is so fucking frustrated at the back of that cart. And that horse is me.
Let's have a drink. They hang out and have a drink.
We'll just have a single drink. A 14-year-old can have one drink, officer. I don't know. Show me the statute that says a 14-year-old isn't allowed to have a single drink. 2, that's ridiculous. But 1, I'm not going to take the bottle from that person, officer. A single drink. Fuck that shit. Tell
One
you
screwdriver.
what. Let's close it out there. That was the part I wanted to get to because above and beyond all the other bullshit, you can say, oh, well, I don't think I did anything wrong. The laws regarding alcohol and age are pretty cut and dry. So to be like, I don't think I did anything wrong, but a single drink. Like, sure, the sex stuff, thought crime. But the drinking laws, like if you say that we're going to drink, I'm going to have alcohol. I don't know, man. That's part of why it always just evolves. All of my thoughts around this person devolve into confusion because that's what we are at. We're at a nexus of hypocritical, what's the word I'm looking for? Critical mass. So you can't make sense of it. I can sit here and say, well, why did you? Well, yeah, each sentence is going to contradict the last one, even if it is congruous with the one before it.
Right.
There's nothing you can do. Like with Jeff, with any of these people, even if they give you their motive, their reasoning, why they did it, if they feel bad or not, it doesn't matter. It's done. Whether it's hypothetical, a thought crime or not, whether you write a song about it, whether the pizza is the same size, whether it's a small or a large, or you go to Pompilio's, you like a vodka tonic, or if it's all online, so it's not real life. It doesn't matter. The harder you try and find a justification in your mind, the crazier you're going to get. And that's why I think we should call it here, because there's no way we're getting to the bottom of this. And I think we're at critical mass.
Yeah. We already know what happened.
Yeah, we know what happens. He tries to change his name to Sonny Porter. His life sucks. He's a douche. The end. So let me drop a few of the true crime channels that I love. So Red Tree True Crime, Explore With Us, Stranger Stories, and the recommendation for you specifically, Krista, is the Explore With Us YouTube channel 2 or 3 videos ago did an Edward Kemper video.
Ooh.
And since we don't have a lot of interview footage outside of the stuff where he sits down with like the media, the narrator for that show narrates the transcripts of his confession, essentially.
Oh.
And he does a great job. Like, I think his voice might be a little too my personal picadillos. I like people with weird voices. His feels too like announcery, like my god. But when he's doing the Edmund Kemper voice, it's actually pretty good. He tries to get like the mannerisms of him and everything. And how could you not? He's been documented so
yeah, he's
expertly.
so compelling. It's like sad to say that he's a murderer.
Right, but I want to run this up your flagpole. He's compelling because he's well spoken.
Yeah, he's like an intelligent murderer. Even though a lot of them are, but just the way that his demeanor is
I think it's just the candid nature.
I'm sure it's probably
if Richard Speck or any of those other guys from Mindhunter, like all those big murders that got, if any of them were as candid as down to earth, because that's the thing, there are a lot of people behind bars who are forthcoming, but they're not as guileless as he comes off as.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, that's just the way it was, and I was helpless for it, and yada, yada, yada. He's the only person who's like, or the only murderer who could play the victim card because his mom was a nightmare and his family life was a nightmare. But he's like, yeah, I just hated it.
Yeah, I think it's because he's so frank about it.
Right. We want the truth, and he's one of the only people who I think gets us close. I don't think he tells us the whole truth.
Probably
but,
not.
Because I think it's his demeanor, too. Because if Bundy or Dahmer were as forthcoming, but still as abrasive, or if like Rodney Alcala, like Ed Kemper doesn't come off as a slimy dude.
No.
If you're open and malicious, it's terrible. But if you're open and seemingly guileless, where you're like, you know what? I don't know what. It was all just a crazy thing, and I'm sorry about it. I'm doing my time and yada, yada.
Yeah.
He's maybe one in a million. I don't know. We're not going to catch them all, but of the ones we have, he's definitely a
one of the best.
not one of them. I mean, he's not one of the best for me. I don't find Edmund Kemper to be super interesting, but that's just me. What's going to pique your interest is going to be what it is. It might be, for me, it's the interaction and the cat and mouse with the detectives. If you've got a good interrogation footage and there's that back and forth, because that's what you want, is you don't want it to be a blowout. If you go to a sports event, you want there to be a gripping experience from start to finish, and then your team comes out ahead.
Yeah.
You don't want to walk up and see, like, if you're a Raiders fan, I'm sure for the first couple of times, if it was just a shutout every time, you go, yeah, but you want a little bit of the strife. You want the back and forth. You want there to be hard hits on both sides. And that's what's interesting to me. It's when these detectives get in front of them and they go, hey, let's see what we can get out of each other. Cool. But if they go, yeah, I did it, I don't know, the mystery is gone.
I don't know. That's why I liked Mindhunters. Like I liked the like psychological aspect of things, and you get that with certain interrogations. Some of them are kind of like you said, cat and mouse. But
Night Kayla.
Good night, Kayla. But there's just some that are like,
right.
You want to get into like
people are interesting. Their stories are interesting no matter what. I am willing to talk to anyone about their life because that's it. They're living it nonstop. And so when you see them, you're getting nothing. You're getting a physical organism appearing to you, not knowing any of their past or whatever. And, by and large, it might be moot, but to get to this point, oftentimes most people do interesting stuff, even if they don't think it is.
right.
So that's the thing. For me, it's the human experience and the interaction between humans. It's not necessarily the crime or the gory details, which
Right.
can
Yeah.
add all to it. but we're just looking for a connection. And I think for those of us in the true crime, we're plumbing the depths of humanity for the human spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can easily find what makes humans great a million different places, in outstanding musicians, sports actors, comedians, yada yada. I think what we're trying to do here, or at least I feel deep down, is like I'm looking for that kernel of something, that core of humanity that must be there, because we all want to feel that way, despite mental illness or bad blood or nature versus nurture. We always, as a society, I think we want to know that there's something in there that is incorruptible. But when we find out that it is completely corrupt, we go, okay, yeah, throw them in a fiery pit somewhere.
Yeah.
But we're still holding out hope. We want there to be that essence of humanity, which is why I think Kelly circles the drain. He wants Jeff to redeem himself in some fucking pathetic, minuscule way. Because we're all still holding out hope. We're humans to each other.
Yeah.
And Jeff did not oblige.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, that's it, guys. We've been going for so long. You see why it took so long to do this fucking episode, because it's going to be a big one. And we got through a solid third of the footage. I recommend you go see it on your own. Again, it's on Red Circle Interrogations. You can also see them on Blue Dot. There's a million different places for interrogation footage out there. There's a channel called Interrogations. That's it, that I want to shout out, because they've got like 2,000-3,000 hits per video, when like it's all raw footage and worth your time if you're into this. So yeah, that's all I got. So we'll see you next week for, I'm not sure, maybe another Chris Hansen thing, or maybe something zany. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but we'll catch you next week. Thank you so much for showing up, if you did, and if it's the future.
Thanks.
Tell me what flying cars are like. Later.
Bye.
For this. Try to.
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.